now. Hello, everybody. We're getting started. Welcome to the pre-show.
Welcome to the pre-show.
Welcome to the Michael check.
Mic check.
Uh-oh, that's making noises somewhere. Let me turn that off. Chat is not working in studio.youtube.com. I'm going to refresh it one more time. Let's see if that works. Probably not, because it hasn't worked yet. What a good website.
Yeah.
All right, well then I suppose I will just use this. Okay, so you guys can hear us. You'll be able to see us right now. Hello. How you doing? This is pre-recorded. 9 lives. This is all pre-recorded.
Yes.
Okay. I am ready, I think, Mike, for the most part. Is there anything that you need to go over, talk about? The stuff that's working.
Slightly higher than you, and it's triggering me.
Okay. Well, I think it's just me needing to set up. Maybe.
I'm furious.
Right? Is that better?
Happy. I'm sorry. I'm happy. I'm feeling a little. I don't know.
Are you on edge?
No, my tummy doesn't hurt.
Oh, okay.
But something is slightly clumsy. I could feel it. Like I met my brother for lunch, and I just had no appetite, so I only ate a little bit. But I'm also not hungry, and yeah, I feel slightly off. But don't worry.
Yeah, I felt slightly off all week. I've decided to change up my diet a little bit today, and I'm feeling a little bit better because I'm going to eat some better food.
I was also telling Jeff too. It's like I have all these like events I have to go to this weekend.
But those are called responsibilities, and I'm against them personally.
I have to cut the grass after this before I can go to because I have a gender reveal party to go to later, and lots of things to do. Do
you have sprinklers?
No.
Yeah, no. No one in Ohio does. You don't need them because it's just always the air's always got water in it.
Yeah, we have rain. So I'm not like super into my lawn care. Like some people are crazy. I don't know. I just cut the grass every once in a while, but I definitely need to do it today because it's raining like the next few days. Then yesterday having all the people get mad at me because of my Mickey Mouse copyright opinion, including a weirdo who doxed me and tried to scare me by posting details about my last speeding ticket. Which was funny because it was in 2006. That's how far back you had to go. That's how much of a good boy I remember the day too, because it was literally the day the Wii came out. Because I got it because I went to my friend's house to play Wii Sports. Got there and realized I forgot my Wiimote, so I kind of raced back home to get it, and that's when I got pulled over. That's the only speed ticket I ever got was the day the Wii came out.
I've had more than that, I think. A handful more. But I used to be a driver,
Jeff, you've been tased.
I've been tased. Yes, I've been tased. The whole separate incident, though, that was just in a house. I used to be a driver, though, so I would get some tickets, probably one a year for a couple years. But, that's what happened when you drive 10,000 hours in a year. All right.
There's a lot to talk about today, Jeff.
Let's get started, then. So, everybody, we're going to get started. I'm going to count down. I'm going to hit recording. I'm going to hit the music, and then we're going to get into it. Okay, where's the record button? I move things around a little bit, so hopefully I'll be okay. All right. 5, 4, 3. The internet, you're busy, let's do this. Welcome to the GamesBeat Decides podcast. This is the podcast where we decide everything happening in the world of games so you never have to think for yourself. I'm your host, Jeff Grubb. With me is
Mike Minotti.
Today's episode will have news, lots of news. We'll have some games, delays, Jim Ryan. So we've got the entire gamut to cover here, Mike, so we should probably hop into it. But first, I want to know, how are you doing?
Well, I'm great because I tweeted that we went live and it brought my followers. I just wish that if anybody had even more Twitter followers than me, that they also tweet about us going live on the podcast.
I'm juggling some things over here. I'm juggling some things over here, but I
believe in you.
The podcast.
I noticed that you tweeted before you started Grubb Snacks yesterday.
Well, that's easy because I don't have to manage all these other things. So basically just show up
me.
Yes, but I don't have to manage you, and that's God. That's like all of the frontal cortex goes towards making sure this monkey dances on command.
Dance, monkey, dance.
I tweeted, so I'm sure we're both doing better now. Yeah, it's I'm gonna be busy all weekend cleaning up again. I did it like a couple weekends ago. I gotta do it again because people are gonna be coming to look at this place soon. It's like, why is that my responsibility? I don't care if you rent this place, but I guess it is. All right, I want to thank everybody for joining us. You get more from Mike and me at GamesBeat.com. If you want to ask a question, you can do so by sending in a super chat while the show is live right here on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. It helps people find the show. Yeah. If you want to communicate with us for free though, which I understand, you can email us at gamespluspodcast@venturebeat.com. We try to check all those messages. Thank you to Carlos Zayn, who's Insane in the Rain Music on YouTube, for the use of our theme song. We are on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and wherever pods are caught. Give us a good rating wherever you're listening. That also helps people find the show. Join the Discord, gamemess.net, or if you go to discord.gg/gamemess, that'll get you right into the Discord. The link is in the description. Thank you to our mods, who are great and keep that Discord going very smoothly. They're also often here in the chat, making sure that all the stupid stuff gets removed, except for my stupid stuff.
That's allowed.
Yes, that is allowed.
There's no bad stuff, Jeff. Only bad teams.
That's right. Support this show by supporting us by going to patreon.com/gamemess. That gets you into the private channels inside the Discord. It also gets you access to like the monthly Q&A and our monthly behind the scenes Jeopardy game. That last Jeopardy game should be going up in about a week, so everybody look out for that.
Don't watch it; it's trash.
You should probably watch it though. I think it was a pretty good one. It's probably our best one yet.
Yeah, right.
Mike, I got a bunch of news.
I bet you do.
Let's just start. Let's just.
I like what you put first after everything that happened this week. Go ahead. What's our leading story, Jeff?
So they were on a conference call with investors. Square Enix was, and they were asked about what Yuji Naka said about Balan Wonderworld, and one of their responses was, "This is a game," and this is a quote now, "a game that we recommend with confidence." Mike, what the hell is wrong with them?
Well, okay. This has to be some legal stuff here because they're getting sued by Yuji Naka, and Yuji Naka's point is probably going to be, they fired me and then rushed this game out, even though they knew it was a disaster and not ready to release. So Square Enix probably has to be on the record saying, "No, we thought that was a great game. It's weird that no one else did. I don't know, but yeah, that's a great product. We didn't try to like just slip it in there and recoup what we could or anything."
Yeah, you're definitely right. This is definitely like, I mean, first of all, what are you expecting to say about a game they are still trying to sell people? And then second, yes, if they are brought into court, they can't say we knew it was trash and just pushed it out, just like
still trying to sell people. How many copies of Balan Wonderworld do you think they sold last month?
I mean, digits? tens of copies. It's just astronomical numbers. Yeah, that you're right. It's mostly the legal stuff that their lawyers are just like, go out there and say we believe in this. It does make us look like we don't know what good games are, but that is the price we have to pay to win our court cases. I mean, I thought they already won the court case or whatever was over. I don't know. Who knows?
Nah, I don't know. I mean, I think we all already question their decision making, so whatever.
That right? Yeah, it's not like they care about our perception of them. Clearly, I just thought that was funny. There was a lot of news stories about that today. The real news this week, though, Mike, is that Xbox and Bethesda, after Phil Spencer went to go visit Bethesda last week, the big news out of there isn't like, oh, here's a big run-up of all the games that are coming. Here's a Redfall trailer. It's quite the opposite. Starfield and Redfall have both been delayed from this year to next year. Mike, this is just, I can't, there's no sugarcoating this. This is just bad for Xbox.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. I mean, I think Redfall and maybe all kind of saw it coming. Like, we barely heard anything about that one. And like, it's getting talked about way less. But it was supposed to be like one of 2 or 3 big games for them this year. But Starfield, that is a little bit bananas, Jeff. It's kind of like Sony losing Horizon at the fall last year, but at least Sony had like some other
they did
big games coming out that year. It was already a sparse year for them. This is historically sparse, especially for a next-gen console in its like second full year, which is when you usually expect things to pick up. Usually expect things to get exciting. You at least expect,
like, begin to hit your stride. Like, I think like the PS4. Like, when did Bloodborne come out? Because that's when I've like
probably
delineated when
PS4 year.
Yeah, that's second year, right? So it's like that's when it started to hit its stride. And I just don't. I look around, I see Xbox doing none of that. Now, part of this is was like in the cards for a very long time in terms of these were the big games they were supposed to have this year. So if something happened to them, it's not like they had anything backed up. And that was just the reality of all these other studios are busy, even though they've acquired so much. They've worked on other games. They did just release 2 games for PlayStation because those deals were in place and all this stuff. And so it's like there are mitigating factors, but at the end of the day, none of that super duper matters to someone who spent $500 on an Xbox, right? It just feels like if I'm showing up and want to feel good about the system, it feels worse today than it did last week when you had these expectations for these big games coming. So if you were to ask me like what you should do as an Xbox owner, I don't think you necessarily need to go out and sell your Xbox. You can if you want. You probably get a pretty decent price for it, but you could at least cancel your Game Pass. If you're paying that $15 per month, just cancel it if you're not playing anything and show up when they prove themselves.
And I wonder if that is something they are panicking about a bit.
I would be.
This is going to plateau Game Pass probably this year, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you to keep subscriptions, and more importantly to grow, and they need to grow because they're publicly traded company and all that. You need big games coming. And what are the big games possibly going to be now? They may only have Forza. That technically isn't like set for this year. It should be. If they don't even have Forza, that's going to be pretty rough for them. But some people are like, oh, they're going to go out and make deals now. Well, what's available? Like, what could they possibly bring in there? So many things are already spoken for, kind of other deals. And some games are kind of almost too big for Game Pass, which we're finding out now really is just a thing, right? Like there's a lot of companies don't want to put one of their 3 biggest releases as a Game Pass day one thing. So you have to kind of find that next tier, like your Outriders. Are there any Outriders out there right now?
I don't know exactly what would be the ideal play here in terms of what you're talking about. I mean, people point to like Gotham Knights, and I'm just like, I don't know how much money that would take to make happen. And even if they had all the money, which they do, and they're willing to put it all in towards one game like that, I don't know if the publishers would play ball. It feels like very, very easy for them to be like, and then say no. Someone in chat, like this was a super chat. Let's just read it real quick. It's from XX Ghost Sniper XX. Not a troll, just frustrated.
You couldn't wait.
Jobs need to be lost.
Killer, it has to be.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's Xbox. Listen, I'll say this: if Xbox was a sports team, people would be calling for the head coach to be fired right now. Yes. It's not a sports team; it's a business, and I think that we can have a relationship of if there's nothing to play, we'll just go elsewhere. That's how I feel. But if people are like have this attachment to Xbox where they do believe it's like kind of like a sports team for them that they're rooting for, I sort of kind of don't blame them for having this reaction of like, we did expect you to have a better year than what you are going to have, even though we weren't having like super high expectations, but you're not even meeting like a pretty low bar. So it feels completely barren. Now, the reality is next year is going to be very good for them. Like there's just almost no doubt that next year is going to be very good for them.
It's going to be better now because a couple of big games that got pushed, and there's now, of course, like is the stuff that was always supposed to come out in 2023 just also going to get delayed too now?
Almost certainly, right?
All right, that's the thing. It's like we're all. It used to be a joke like how everything's getting delayed. Jeff, everything is getting delayed.
Yes.
At this point, everyone expects God of War Ragnarok to just also be delayed because that's what happens. At a certain point, we have to wonder, like, man, this process just seems broken. And forget about, crunch is obviously bad, but that's not really a factor here because delaying a game could just also mean more crunch. Maybe it won't.
Absolutely.
It's a different thing. That's bad, and that should stop. But that's a separate issue from just why can't we predict when a game is going to come out when we're working on it? And I know why. It's because games are very hard to make. But if games become too hard to make, Jeff, is the whole thing just gotten ridiculous? Budgets doubling every generation, taking hundreds or maybe thousands of people to make a single game. Is something going to give here at some point?
Yes, I think at a certain point, like this is something we've seen across the entire supply chain, right? Like this this slack that once things like bunched up and people were sort of like not sure what to do because of the pandemic, and then things tightened back up. It was like this elastic rubber banding effect where it's like, everything's fucked up, we don't know what to do. And that, that happened with the talent availability to make games, and that stuff hasn't sorted itself out yet. But as we keep pushing more stuff forward continuously every year, eventually we will come out on the other side of this, and I do think that they will be in. But this is the thing that people hate when we talk about Xbox. Just wait until next year, right? I think. Yeah. Sorry, I got an eyelash in my mouth. One of the things that I always like tell people though is like time is linear. Like we have to go through this, even though it always feels like, yes, we're always saying this. Eventually we won't be. Eventually all of these studios that they purchased will be available to work on stuff, and we'll be releasing one game after the other. I know, look, this started in 2018 and now we're in 2022. It feels like a long time, but they did just release 2 games for PlayStation, and had they not had that deal in place, those games would have come exclusively to Xbox. So once we get to the point where they're past these deals, these things will just fall into place. So you got to keep waiting, and I don't think this is some sort of apocalypse, but it's a bad year. I don't think it's wrong to call it a bad year either, right? It just plainly is a bad year.
It's fair. It's definitely a bad year. Did you want to read that super chat? I didn't mean to stop you there.
I read the one from Ghost. Was there another one? I probably missed it. You go ahead and read it.
You did read it already?
Yeah, I did. What did he say? He said, not a troll, just frustrated. Jobs need to be lost. That's the.
Oh well, that's him. That's him replying to a second. To a first.
Okay. All right. You
said. I'll read it, Jeff. This is my job, anyways, because he's yelling at you, anyways.
Okay, go for it.
What Ghost Sniper XX said was. To be clear, I think he might be talking about our jobs. I don't know. He said, you said Starfield was 2021, but then 2022, then 2023. Tired of you clout-chasing leakers. You said this Xbox show will be the one. You straight up lied.
Well, what does this have to do with the Xbox show? And also, they said it was 2022.
Yeah, that was just what they said.
Before.
Yeah, how did you not know 3 years ago that this game was going to be delayed to 2023?
Also, I was the first one saying for sure it was going to be 2022. I don't know. This guy always says I said it was 2021. It's like I'm like, once I knew for sure, I'm like 2022 before anyone else said that. So, how did I not know? I mean, I at a certain point, I'm just like assumed that they was true and stopped looking into it. This one just felt like it was for sure coming out in 2022. That's why it's so shocking.
I assume that this decision to delay things was relatively recent. Although I asked you this even on Grubb's Next. I mean, they got ahead of this. Like they're announcing this delay now, and this game was supposed to come out in 6 months. The fact that they're like, 6 months will not even be enough time. Not even close. It's pretty interesting.
The reality is, and this is based on like how I've heard these things work in the past, is these things don't just happen. They do. The decision just happens, but everyone, like developers, are talking to their managers, and those managers are talking to the executive producers, and the executive producers are talking to Matt Booty, and Matt Booty's talking to Phil Spencer, and they're all like, they know, but they're like, okay, I'm gonna come take a look for myself. I'm Phil Spencer. I go there. I go visit last week. Let's really see where this game is at. And once I do that, I will feel comfortable about making this decision. And in the long run, right, Mike, this is the right choice, right? They're like, you don't want to be another Cyberpunk.
Oh, no, it can't be a Cyberpunk. I mean, gosh, they delayed Halo Infinite by a whole year, and there are still people who are like, they should have delayed that game another 6 months.
Right, and now it's like, now that it seems like they're listening to that group of people, right? It feels like this is the game that couldn't get delayed as well, and they're not going to let it get close to it. They're like, hey, before E3, we are just going to like rip off this Band-Aid, and then we will present E3 as the reality of what we can do, and games that will be coming out in 2023 more likely, and then hopefully people feel good about us at that point.
Is that what we're going to get from their quote-unquote E3 show here? Is it just going to have to be like, yeah, here's a lot of games that are coming out after this year. Here's Forza, and we're hoping that one makes it this year. And here's maybe some third-party things and some indie games. But otherwise, yeah, here's maybe a couple more new announcements. And look, there's Avowed again. You guys were asking about that, weren't you?
Yeah, I think they have to have a lot of gameplay for a lot of games they've already announced, right? It needs to be a lot of amazing gameplay for Avowed and for a bunch of other stuff that, maybe even Perfect Dark. I mean, they have to pull out all the stops just to make people be like, okay, I did buy this console something, a bunch of stuff is coming in 2023. That's actually beginning in, like, you could check your watch, like 6 months. These games are probably, like, at least one of these games, Redfall and Starfield, are probably coming out in the first quarter of next year, before the end of the fiscal year from Microsoft, that sort of thing. So we're not talking about waiting a whole another year probably for at least one of these games. And then that should kick off what should be a pretty good year. And in the meantime, you have to wait. But there are, I mean, I don't know. For me, my first thing is there are so many other games to play. And so I can only get so mad. Even though I will completely criticize Xbox for the year it's having.
Yeah, it's a bad year. Do you think the Modern Warfare 2 is going to be a big part of their show now? All of a sudden,
no, because PlayStation's got the co-marketing deal. That's why. So yeah, we could talk about that real quick. I put this a little bit further in the show, but I'm pretty sure that Call of Duty is going to have its own event. And I talked about this in Grubb Snacks a little bit. I think pretty sure Call of Duty is going to have its own event that first week of Summer Game Fest. Like, I think they're going to, an event, I don't mean like an in-person event or like even like a streaming event, but I mean like an event on your calendar where something will happen. Yeah. I think it's likely a trailer drop. And then I think there probably will be something also at Summer Game Fest itself. Now, the one possibility there is I'm also hearing from multiple people that Sony will actually have a show the first week of June. I can't confirm that, but I'm hearing from a bunch of different people, and maybe that's just scuttlebutt. I can't confirm that, so I'm not putting it on the Game Mess list. But maybe Call of Duty just shows up there instead. But that's the reality of Microsoft cannot go and like go get that game and put it on Game Pass or something like that. Sure. Because PlayStation's got the deal in place. So we go back to what can they do with third-party stuff for the rest of this year, and there's just not a lot of good options.
One last thing here, we can move on. I'm sure we'll get super chats asking about this. We'll come back to it. We talked before about that rumor that Obsidian was going to make a Fallout game. So Jeff, this has to push back Outer Scrolls even further. And then again, if it really is going to be the normal timeline here, then Bethesda Game Studios would have to maybe release the next Fallout game in 2030s. That's obviously not actually going to happen, right?
I mean, I just don't see how you can. I don't see how you can wait that long. You need to figure something else out. We said that from the beginning, right? But it's like clearly now, if you have the possibility to like just fill in the gap with a Fallout New Vegas spiritual successor from Obsidian, you do it. And that's a team that will be able to probably get around to that, even though they are very busy themselves, even quicker than Bethesda Game Studios. So I think that almost it solidifies that plan as something that they will definitely pursue, I think. Okay,
I'm going to read this super chat from Roosevelt Douglas because I think he's figured it out. Roosevelt Douglas. Maybe it's time for Xbox to break glass and bring the hentai to Game Pass. Throw hentai to the peasants and they won't riot. Maybe, yeah.
Can't argue with it.
Yeah, Halo TV show spoilers, I guess, but Master Chief fucks now. Right, so maybe That's true. Just need to lean into this. They need to get Honey Pop on there. They need to finance Honey Pop 3 and 4. And yeah, then
who cares where the buttholes go? They can go in the wrong place, the right place. Doesn't matter.
As long as Cortana gets to watch, it's all good.
I've not actually seen that scene, Mike, but apparently
I haven't seen the scene. God no, I don't want to.
Well, I'm gonna boot it up as soon as we're done here. Okay, all right, we'll move on. To the feel-good story of the week, Mike. PlayStation boss Jim Ryan wants to talk to you about dogs instead of Roe versus Wade, which he does not want to talk to you about.
I can't believe it's the same day as Microsoft thing.
Yeah, it just felt like, oh my god, what is it was such whiplash. Like, what is happening in video games? So Jim Ryan, according to Bluebird, this story is on Bluebird if you want to go read it. He wrote a message to employees who were concerned about PlayStation's corporate stance regarding the potential overturning of Roe versus Wade by the United States Supreme Court. In that message, he said it's, here, I'll just read the quote. We owe it to each other and to PlayStation's millions of users to respect differences of opinion among everyone in our internal and external communities. Respect does not equal agreement, but it is fundamental to who we are as a company and as a valued global brand. So basically, it's just saying we're not going to take a position. We're just going to let people fight, and we're going to stand to the side. To be fair to Jim Ryan on this point, this is what every PR company is telling corporations to do. Not every company is listening to that, but all PR companies are basically telling them to do this. And instead of just saying that and letting people be mad at him about that, he tried to lighten the mood by doing this. He later in the email said, I would like to share something lighthearted to help inspire everyone to be mindful of having balance that can help ease the stress of uncertain world events. He saying it was recently his 2 cats' first birthday. And this is the message. He wrote this. And then he elaborated over the next few paragraphs about his cat's birthday cakes, their noises, and his desire to one day get a dog. He then wrote about the imaginary scenario of him owning that dogs really are man's best friend. They know their place and perform useful functions like biting burglars and chasing balls that you throw for them. And then some women, according to Bloomberg, wrote that they felt their rights were disrespected or trivialized by the message. Weird. And one employee said they'd never been so mad about a cat birthday before.
I don't know.
That line right there.
I've been in some pretty infuriating cat birthdays.
This is okay. So, not ignoring the fact that like what the topic of this whole thing is about, but that almost just makes it so much grimly, or it makes it so much more grimmer how funny it is that this is the dichotomy that he is presenting.
It's so bizarre. It's like, I mean, it's like he learns the lessons about like management and PR, and he's just clumsily applying them like a space alien to this situation.
Right. It's like when you feed a bunch of scripts to an AI and then you ask the AI to write a movie, that is what he is doing with like public relations and internal employee relations and leadership and stuff like that. Absolutely. Mike, is Jim Ryan a weirdo?
Yeah. He's a weirdo. I have no idea how he thought this was a good idea. Just don't say anything. If you're not going to be brave enough to stand up for what's right here, then just, then don't say anything. Don't make it weird and obnoxious. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't even want to speculate. Does he not know that this is such a hot topic issue? Is it because he's not like that he's not American? He doesn't realize how upset people are. I imagine it's still an issue in Europe also.
Right.
So I can't imagine that's a great excuse. I have no idea. It's bizarre. It might just be weird, old man, moderate at all costs, right?
Right.
Like that is just their belief system. We have to always get along no matter what. That's the real. That's the
most noblest position I could take, is making sure everyone is civil. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't matter if they take our rights away, as long as we're all still nice to each other. As long as everybody still smiles and waves at me when I walk into the office and give me my coffee, that's okay. So yes, everyone stop being mean to each other and slack. That makes me uncomfortable.
Yes, exactly. He's a bit of a weirdo. He sells a lot of PlayStations. But if I was working at that company, I would be pretty mad too if I got a message. I would be actually infuriated. This was like the kind of stuff that if my actual boss said this stuff, I would go insane.
Yes.
When I'm observing from the outside, I'm just like, oh my God, you guys have a clown in charge. What is going on over there?
What happens now? Are we going to be getting the kind of his second letter to everybody, which is apologizing that he knows it's going to be leaked like at the end of today?
Yes, something like that. Yes, something like where he gets he hires his own personal like crisis management consultant, and they write a message for him and he sends it out. Yes, that's exactly what happens.
Is this going to become a full Disney situation where now they're going to feel pressure? No, I guess now we have to make a statement actually in support of women's rights. And then the U.S. government tries to punish them for it.
Right.
I mean,
maybe
the U.S. government doesn't have as much leverage on PlayStation as Florida had on Disney. So I don't know if exactly.
Although Florida famously fucked that up, though, of course, which of course they did. But yes. Yeah, and in terms of that happening, I guess that's a possibility. I think that the pressure from Japan to stay on the side would probably be stronger than, like you said, the leverage that the United States might have on Sony, or like the internal employees might have over Jim Ryan to make him do something he doesn't want to do. So he'll probably just try to wash his hands of it and apologize and move on.
Oh, Napper's right. He should just straight up post the apology on the Cyberpunk yellow image.
Yeah. Benji makes a good point. What about Bungie? Sony acquired Bungie, and that's the one of the few video game companies that have come out and strictly said, like, we are going to do everything we can to make sure that
they're probably fucking pissed.
Yeah.
They're probably not happy, and that's probably that alone is probably what's going to make force him, even if he doesn't really want to, have to kind of come out and apologize. He's gonna have to sort of appease Bungie a bit here because that deal is still happening.
Yep. Okay. So Jim Ryan, Weirdo, moving on. I talked about the Sony event maybe happening in early June. I'll keep trying to track that down. If anyone wants to send me any tips on that, let me know. I'll see if I can confirm anything. Dead Space, the Dead Space remake had a new dev event this week where they showed off a bunch of new art. It looks very good, and at the end of that stream, they confirmed it's coming January 27th, and they're going to do the gameplay reveal in October. So that game's coming along. Yeah. I mean, we knew it was coming early next year because I was able to report that, but I was still very frustrated because that game's on my my fantasy critic thing. Because it was originally supposed to come out in October, and when we drafted, that was still the case, and that's changed. Oh well.
Sure, that would have, especially now with Starfield moving out, that could have had a good run at October here.
Yep.
Where it's sad. It looks like it sure is going to be a Call of Duty Pokemon Christmas, huh?
Yeah, it really, really, really feels that way now. But Dead Space in January, I think a lot of games are feeling very confident about moving to January, February, March after Elden Ring. So this is already one in January, in late January, so basically February. I think next February going to be just like this February with 4 or 5 massive games, a bunch of other things, maybe some surprise games. It's going to be a very busy time of year again.
It could be Starfield.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I really think Starfield probably comes out in February or March. Let's see. Star Wars Jedi Survivor is the name of the new video game. This comes from Colonel Sanders, a chatter in the Giant Bomb Game Mess, the Giant Bomb Grub Snack show. I had everyone guessing because I didn't want to just say it because I didn't see the point.
Then at some point you Control F to see if anyone guessed it, and you typed the S, so everyone knew. And you told them it was one word. Which at that point I thought it was going to happen pretty quickly, but still, it seems like no one was going to get it. Then right when you were signing off, Colonel Sanders came in with an extra crispy Survivor guess.
Yep, and it was right. And my face just kind of dropped a little bit. I'm like, oh god, what do I do now? I gotta acknowledge it. I said I would. So yeah, he got it. Star Wars Jedi Survivor. It's coming basically by March 2023. I could say that, but also EA has said that in their most recent earnings report. They said they're going to have 4 games in Q4 of their fiscal year, which ends by March. And one of those is a major IP. The other ones are
a major remake, which is Dead Space.
Yes, yes, Dead Space. Yes, exactly. And then there's the sports game that's Super Mega Baseball, and then a partner game, which is something like the Haze Light, but it's not Haze Light this time. It's another studio. But yes, so major IP is going to be Star Wars Jedi Survivor out by March. That could also, I feel get delayed, maybe more likely than Dead Space again at this time. So
at this point, yes.
But that's the plan right now, according to EA. That's the plan. So yeah, that's exciting. I'm ready for this game, Mike. I love the first game, so I'm ready for this next one.
Yes, I like the first game. Even even to the point where it's some of the criticisms people have at it, I don't really agree with. I don't even feel some people. I think me and you are big Cal Kestis defenders. And people he was such a blade protagonist. Nah, he's a good boy. Yeah, I like him.
He definitely had the benefit of having even cooler people around him, but that doesn't push him down. It raises him up because he plays really nicely off all those other characters, I think. And I'm a big Cal Kestis fan. I think he's one of my favorite Jedi characters in a long time. So yeah, they
didn't overcomplicate him. I guess what I like about him. He's not too edgy. He's not too mopey or
right. They pass those
priesty
characteristics on to everyone around him, right? He's definitely dealing with wanting to cut himself off the force, but it's a redemption arc. It's him building back up to that stuff, which works really well for a game, but it also works really well for a character. He's on the upswing, and that's cool. It's other people around him that are dealing with being mopey and stuff like that. One of them's the force switches of Dathomir and stuff like that. And she's an awesome character because she's fantastic. And she's a love interest.
For one thing, she's a force switch of Dathomir.
So exactly, and inherently cool. Yes, inherently cool. All right. Silent Hill concept art has leaked, and then it was DMCA'd. So the people are this definitely means that's real. I'm pretty sure, yes, it's real. But what does that mean? Does that mean that we're definitely going to get a game? Konami could cancel it. Konami's canceled lots of things. But this is probably coming. It's probably coming from Bluebird. The rumor I've heard that I can't confirm. Please don't go write this headline because I really cannot confirm it, and I do not want my name attached to this. But I'm sharing it with you all with the understanding that you won't do that. Is that Bluebird is working on a Silent Hill 2 remake, and I don't know if the images that leaked, if that would in any way jive with that information, and if it doesn't, well, I haven't played Silent Hill 2, so I don't know. So I'm just trying to.
I actually have the only one I played, and it's most people's favorite. So. Now, it's kind of weird because people also do like Silent Hill 1 pretty fine, so I don't know why you wouldn't just make that one first, unless they're just really like, well, let's just go for it. Let's just go for the one everybody likes.
Okay. Mike, we got to take a quick break because I've got to go help this kid who I believe is being a little bit sick.
All right.
So
just go ahead and drop that Silent Hill 2 is getting remade and leave me with the...
Yeah, deal with it.
The fallout of that.
I don't know if that's happening. It's probably not.
If you're not super sure about that, I would specify right now because I could already see the VGC story getting written. Oh God, you didn't even hear that. I'm worried. Jeff's like just throwing that one out there. I don't know if I believe him. Silent Hill 2 theme. I don't even know what the Silent Hill 2 theme sounds like. Silent to the hills. Silent to the streets. Silent Hill 2 confirmed. Don't tweet it. Don't tweet it. It's already written. It probably is. I just realized he has I think footage of Jedi Fallen Order playing behind him right now on his some super wide monitor thingy. Fancy. We could see it better if he didn't use this weird computer AI algorithm to blur the background. You can it's not blurred in that one little gap there on the chair, which is interesting. You got anything to add to these Silent Hill rumors that we'd like to quote you on? Yeah, Silent Hill's canceled and it's actually never coming out. They're going to do Thanos is going to do a memory wipe on all of us, so we just actually forget about the franchise even. That's how bad it's going to get. There you go. I mean, a remake would make sense because then you don't have to make a new game. You don't have to, make a story, do level design, all that stuff. You might have to change the level design a little bit. I don't know. I don't know how extensive a remake it's going to be. Look. When it comes to Silent Hill, you never get your hopes up. Got a little freestyling there. I got a little weird there. You leaked something, Mike. Upstage, Jeff. I wanted to be the one to tell everybody about to basically give away Jedi Survivor, but Colonel Sanders guessed at the last moment. I was going to start making a lot of references to songs by Survivor, specifically "Eye of the Tiger." I wanted one of you guys to guess it, not those Grubb snacks. I was about to call them Grubbs. Grubb snack Grubbs? Sure, the Grubb snack Grubbs. Why not? Mike's Tin Whistle YouTube channel saying, I'm not good enough. I can't do it. Although I actually think Survivor song from Rocky 4, Burning Hearts is even better than Eye of the Tiger. That's a good one. It's all you, Rachel. I played that game one time back when I was in a bit of a game. Was it it's like not a book club, but like a game playing club. I played it. It was fun. I had to go to a GameStop like 45 minutes away because they had the only used copy of it on Xbox. That was back when I could still buy Xbox games at a GameStop. So this is probably 2007, 2008 I did this. It was fun. It's a good game. I can see why people like it so much. Put on the hat. Get up and put the hat on now. With the burning heart just about to burst. There's a quest for answers and a quest for the thirst. Resident Evil 4 remake this year? I don't know, maybe. If they did, I bet Microsoft would be like, "Oh, we should have that. We should get that on Game Pass. We should, hey, please. Here is $1 billion. Please let us associate Resident Evil 4 remake with our system. We beg you." be begging. Man, I wonder what's wrong with Jeff's kid. This is a pretty long time for him to be away. The kid could not have been happy. Maybe she threw up on Jeff. That would make me very happy. I would be into that. Yeah, that's right. We had all those Metal Gear Solid remake rumors, right? And then that didn't happen. So who knows? Who knows what Konami is doing? Let's put this the next note. There it is. No, you see a super strict. I went through it a bit, mostly looking for Daisy, and she wasn't in it. So, yeah.
Rosalina's in it. Come on.
Yeah, Rosalina. Yeah, I know. I still think that Daisy's going to be an unlockable character along with like somebody else. Who else is missing? I don't know.
I agree. Okay, let me unpause and we'll get back into it. Where was I? All right. Okay, we're back. One of the other things, well, I'm not going to repeat like any of the other Silent Hill rumors because there's a whole mess of them, and I again can't confirm any of them. But there's like a whole bunch of like apparently Silent Hill things in the works. I definitely know that there is a Silent Hill game being made. That I can like verify, but what like the details of it is like hard to nail down. So not surprising that concept art has leaked. We've also heard from Andy over at VGC. He's had reports about Silent Hill stuff in the works. So it's kind of now a matter of just like, do we hear about it ever from Konami? And if we do, when and where? I guess it feels like every time there's an event, it's like, oh yeah, maybe here, but maybe Summer Game Fest. Maybe we hear about it there. What do you think?
I'm nervous just you talking about Silent Hill at this point. I hope they do something with it. Just let's get something out there so that we can all move on a little bit.
Yes, exactly. Konami was supposed to be in like, they were going to have something on Last Game Awards, right? Or Summer Game Fest.
That's right.
What was that?
Something was going to happen. Drop frames, Jeff. By the way.
Okay. Let me take a look there. No drop frames. So maybe there's some. Try refreshing and let me know. Okay. Let's see. Let's move on from this, Mike. It's just too hot of a topic, huh? Too hot.
Too hot. I can't handle it. I'm feeling anxious. I feel like I feel like the stories are already coming out. Jeff Grubb confirmed Silent Hill 2 remake.
Every time I've said, please don't go write a story about this, people have been very respectful and not done it. So maybe we're testing things here, and maybe this is the one that breaks it. But so far, people have been pretty respectful of that.
Silent Hill
I believe in you.
People. It's nuclear.
Look at me. I believe in you. If anyone writes something, please send this to them. I believed in you.
I believed in you.
And I'm not mad.
Let Jeff Grubb down.
I'm not mad, but I'm disappointed.
Next.
Okay. So, Square closed down or sold some studios, Mike. So what do you think they're going to do next?
They want to start new studios.
It's a silly thing, right? Like you sold some studios so you could open some studios, but they're probably opening studios that are maybe more within their culture, I guess, which is like like NFTs. What is their culture? But yeah, go ahead.
For one thing, they'll open in Japan.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And they'll probably be smaller, and they like could be support studios for whatever. Yeah, they can make blockchain games, or maybe it just looks good to potential buyers to say, yeah, we're doing so well, we want to open more studios. I don't know.
I mean, this, to be fair, in the first part of like the reasoning of like why they sold those studios off, they basically said we're doubling down on the stuff that works, and that they could say this is part of that, right? That it does actually make some sense. The way that Crystal Dynamics and Eidos were making games never jived with the way Square Enix wanted to make games, and these studios could just be built in the image that they imagine is right for their way of developing stuff. So, fair enough. See, Xbox Network was down for 3 days, and this prevented many people from launching their digital games. Now, it was like an intermittent outage where some people were able to get on, some people weren't. Like if you were playing Halo on PC and you needed to sign into Xbox Live to sort of play that, most people were able to do that, but a lot of people were unable to open digital games that they owned, and apparently even on their home console, which should have solved that problem. But seems like some developers haven't flagged their games for certain situations like that, and it caused a big headache for a lot of people. This is something that should just have a solution, right, Mike? This just shouldn't happen.
Right, and hopefully because this did happen now, they are going to look into it and make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yes. It's kind of thing, it's like, okay, on Steam, I'm pretty sure I have to like register like every 30 days. But for like a 30-day period, I can go offline and play all my games for the most part. As long as I've already have them downloaded. But that was not working on Xbox. There are solutions that work, and it's kind of silly because I'm like on my Steam Deck playing stuff offline a lot of the time, and it's no issue. And Xbox can just do that, and they should. Xbox announced a new range of adaptive devices for PC. This is like a bunch of things that you like. Let's say if you have a hand amputation, and so you just have like just the wrist, and you want to be able to control games that way. There's like big D-pads that amputees can use to play that, and it works. It seems to work very well. People are very much into this, and they have a whole variety of things that are meant to fit every sort of situation, and it seems like very thoughtful, and it seems like something they built in collaboration with a bunch of different communities to ensure that they are serving a bunch of different needs. This is the sort of solution that is ideal according to people who are experts in this field, where it's like you don't want to have just a one-size-fits-all solution for accessibility. Right. It's a moving target all the time, and so providing a bunch of options so people can customize to their situation is the ideal scenario. And there's an image that Microsoft provided, and it's like it looks like a dozen, almost 24 devices for every different situation. So yeah, very good. The one thing with this stuff is Nintendo and Sony should immediately just be like, hey, can we just use this stuff on our things? We should just get to that point.
Right. It's not like a space they need to compete in, like financially or anything like that.
Exactly. Right. We should just move past that hurdle immediately.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's keep going. We still have a lot. Nintendo was coy about a new Switch this year in their earnings call with investors. But they didn't like deny it, and we both think this is probably something like a Switch OLED, right? Or Switch Lite OLED.
Switch Lite OLED. It's not going to be the Switch 2 or Switch Pro.
Ooh, okay. Hang on real quick. Yadu Paracoltiganas from chat says, narrative lead for Avowed, Kate Doralhide. After 5 amazing years at Obsidian, I'm leaving the studio to pursue my personal creative endeavors. This is my last week with the team. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of key leads leave a lot of games, and this is another one.
Well, is this now for something like a key lead? Yes, but narrative. Now that stuff is always getting worked on throughout development. Do you think maybe she laid down enough of that stuff already?
Probably.
Enough that foundation.
Yeah, I think yes, and also I think there's probably a lot of people touching that stuff that she could just hand that stuff off to. People leaving from these key positions is just not going to be something that is going to stop happening anytime soon, because we talk about it every week. The demand for talent. She's going to pursue her personal creative endeavors. She could probably go start her own studio and get it funded right now if that's what she means, and probably get a lot of money. Yeah. Instead
of writing the next Fallout game, which maybe she doesn't really care about.
Right. And also, yeah, if Avowed's getting to a point where she has less and less work, maybe the next thing isn't what she's interested in. Like the next Fallout game, she could just go do whatever she wants, and now would be probably the time to leave. But yeah, thank you for pointing that out, Radu. Let's see. The Nintendo Indie World event happened. Mike, any thoughts on that?
Just that if there's any disappointment with that, Nintendo sure somehow didn't end up being the big loser for the week, huh? They're looking pretty good. that everyone forgot about their slightly underwhelming Indie World Direct pretty quickly. I mean, there's some good looking games. I'm really into Gunbrella. I'm excited for that one. I wish that was this year, but that's also next year. I'm not even gonna say the name of that game, Jeff. I'm not even going to talk about it.
Right. Okay. Yes, I was going to say
know what game.
I know a game. Fair enough. Silk Song isn't real.
Wow, he said it. Curse us all.
Kirby 64 is coming to Nintendo Switch Online on May 20th. Mike, you were mad about this game when you were a kid, right?
Oh yeah, I was furious. Because there were some 2D games on Nintendo 64, but at least Yoshi's Story and Mission Makers, like they had a cool 2D art style. This was like one of the first of that trend of Nintendo 2D side scrolls that just sort of use. It's like the worst of both worlds. We have the ugly Nintendo 64 character models, but it's still a 2D game. Like at the time, so many of those franchises were branching out to 3D, and even back then I wanted to see what a 3D Kirby game was going to look like. And they put 64 in the title, Jeff. And when you put 64 in the title, I expect some kind of a leap or something happening. It wasn't Yoshi 64; it was Yoshi's Story.
Yep.
Right. So yeah, I didn't. The game's fine. Also, it's mostly a forgettable 2D Kirby game. The best thing it has going for it is, you can combine the abilities, and there's like like each of them have a combination, and that's neat to see. But it's not like Kirby Superstar where each ability doesn't just give you an ability, it gives you a move set. This one doesn't really work like that. It's almost kind of simpler. It's more like Kirby's Dream Land 3, but again with the combination stuff. So it is a completely okay Kirby game. It's kind of, again, it's like if it was just one of the games coming out to NSO this month, that'd be fine. But it's like, oh man, we're getting this. Now I have to wait a whole nother month to see if we're gonna get like 1080 or Excite Bike or Wave Race or one of these things I really actually want.
Yeah. I never played this, and probably for the same reasons that you mentioned. Actually, it was like I would have tried a 2D game if it was super highly rated or like looked very cool, like Mischief Makers. I played that, but when Kirby 64 came, I'm like, I was kind of hoping for a 3D game. I was too. Let's see. FIFA is now EA Sports FC. Ubisoft didn't mention NFTs on its earnings call, and Ubisoft says it has everything it needs to remain independent. I'm just gonna read those headlines, and we're gonna move on to Nintendo's fiscal report, where it said Pokemon Sword and Shield have sold 24.27 million copies. The Pokemon Gen 4 remakes have sold 14.65 million copies already, and Pokemon Legends Arceus has sold 12.65 million copies already. Pokemon it sells a lot, Mike. You ever notice that?
It's going to have its best year ever because they're still releasing the actual new mainline games later this year.
Yep,
right?
It is. Again, they said late 2022, so it'll be like later this year, but it's still this year. It's coming. It's going to be massive.
Mm-hmm.
Mario Party Super, I think it's Mario Party Superstar is at 6.8 million copies, almost 6.9 million copies already.
That's on top more than Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah, if not, it's right there, and probably it's made more money because it hasn't really gone on sale like that Final Fantasy game.
It was probably a lot cheaper to make too.
Yeah, probably a lot cheaper to make. That's on top of like the 15, 16 million copies of Super Mario Party, which has already sold that much, and now Mario Party Superstars is tracking ahead of that, so it's going to catch up to that and probably just sell as many of that as that or close to it over time. Zelda Skyward Sword HD is 3.91 million. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe sold another 9.94 million copies over the last fiscal year, almost 10 million copies again, and that's 45 million copies total for that game. That's just deluxe, of course, not the original Wii U one either. So wow. And then Animal Crossing New Horizons 6.01 million, and Kirby 2.65 million. Of course, the one that Kirby game, that's selling very well. But the one we were worried about, Metroid 2.9 million, we had this conversation on Nintendo if people really want to hear it, but we've sort of settled into that's pretty good for a Metroid game, right?
It's the best-selling Metroid game. It's pretty good for a 2D game by Nintendo. It is still, me and Jeff like this game a lot. It was getting a lot of buzz and Game of Year nominations. It's still, there's this bitterness of, man, even this can't really break that ceiling for this franchise. Maybe Metroid Prime 4 will. First, it has to come out. It has to be good, and then we can see what happens.
Yes, assuming that game is good, it should do better than this. It will be the best-selling Metroid game again. Sony had its fiscal earnings as well. 2 million PS5 sold this quarter. It's definitely tracking below where they want, but that's all supply stuff. Lifetime, 19.3 million PS5s have been sold. They were aiming for somewhere closer to 22, 23 million. They have 47.4 million PS Plus subs. I think that's kind of flat year over year. Might even be like a little bit down, but not in any super negative way. And that's something that will continue to grow as they are able to sell more PS5s and people buy a PS Plus subscription again to go along with that. Its digital software ratio, 71%, so just bigger than ever in terms of where it sells its games. 71% of those are digital. You can imagine maybe they could feel better about starting to sell that PS5 digital, so they got kind of force even more people onto that, since so many people seem to adopt it anyhow. And then 70.5 million PlayStation pieces of software sold, 14.5 million first-party software that quarter alone. That's also very, very good. Let's see, Capcom did its earnings. It's also doing very well. It's up 15%, almost 16% year over year. This is the fifth year in a row where it's set record net sales. So also doing very well. That company just seems to have a endless upward trajectory right now based on everything it's doing. You wonder if it's going to hit a wall eventually, right?
I mean, maybe, but like at least for a bit, they can kind of ride that Resident Evil Monster Hunter train pretty reliably, right? There's still Resident Evil games they can remake. They can still just make new Resident Evil games and then, Monster Hunter just has a very clear path forward. We have the expansion to Rise coming out. Well, then you do Monster Hunter World 2, an expansion to that, and then you do Monster Hunter Rise 2, and then an expansion to that. So they're set for like the next 10 years of Monster Hunter, really. And then,
you're right.
in the meantime, you can still make some smaller things like some Mega Man compilations, or you could do some other bigger things like Devil May Cry 6, or maybe some mildly risky things like a Dragon's Dogma 2. Yeah, out of all the Japanese studios, they certainly seem like they have their stuff figured out the most.
All right, Elden Ring has sold 13.4 million copies total. That brings us here into NPD. The Switch lifetime in the United States has now outsold the PlayStation 4. I guess I didn't even realize it was that close to that, Mike. I kind of thought it was still a ways off, but PS4, while big in the United States, the reason it's like so global, like successful overall, is the global market. And I just didn't realize that like it was the Switch was sort of outpacing the PS4. I guess I would have to like look at the launch aligned time frame, but obviously it seems like it did this faster than the PS4 did. So Switch just a monster in terms of unit sales. And again, this is unit sales. The consoles that are ahead of it, Mike, the Wii, Xbox 360, PS2. Does it get there?
It's gonna get PS2 is the tough one. I think it'll get to sooner. Man, the Xbox 360 really was a beast in
the United States
country.
Yep.
It just felt like it was absolutely dominant over PlayStation 3, and it's shocking that I think technically PlayStation 3 won worldwide, because that brand has so much power in Japan back then. It's still in Europe, but yeah, I think we also was strong. I think so, because I think the Switch is still going to have at least one strong year left in it, and maybe two, so it can get there.
And people asking like, what about the DS? I think it's the DS and what else? I mean, maybe the 3DS in terms of handhelds that are still ahead of it. So it's like in terms of all hardware, it's in 6 behind those three, and then I think the 3DS and the DS. But it's gonna probably beat the 3DS for sure. The DS seems out of reach, just like the PS2, maybe just out of reach.
And we're talking just about US here right now, so
right?
This isn't like those famous 155 million numbers.
Exactly. This is just US. This is just from NPD. These numbers are very accurate, although we don't know the exact numbers because NPD is not able to share that. That would be something the console manufacturers would have to share, and they aren't willing to do that. Switch was the top selling console for April once again in terms of units, and that's also true for year to date. So through the first 4 months of the year, it's the number one selling console. Xbox Series X and S are number 2 in terms of both those things, so unit sales and dollar sales. And then it was but that was for April. I'm sorry. So it's an Xbox Series X and S number 2 in unit sales and dollar sales for April. But in year to date, it's actually number 1. But PS5 was number 1 in April specifically. And that's because they were able to get a lot of just $500 PS5s out there, while Xbox is still selling a lot of Series S's as well, dragging down its average sales price. Let's see.
Everyone's doing fine. In terms of everyone's mostly selling the consoles that they can make, and then Switch is doing
exactly. Let's see. Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga was number 1 for the month. It was number 1 on Xbox, number 1 on PlayStation, number 1 on Switch, and number 1 on Steam. It did very, very well. It's already the number 2 best-selling game of 2022 so far.
Behind Elden Ring. Yeah, that's a really strong performance. But at first I was surprised, but when you stop and think about it, like this game is the benefit of actually being able to launch on Switch, Xbox, and PlayStation. And then the Switch audience obviously loves these kind of family games, and then the Xbox and PlayStation audiences are probably starved for them, for really high quality ones. And it's the Star Wars brand, which absolutely means something. So yeah, that's I guess that is a recipe to just kind of come out and be dominant. But this is pretty dominant, and I wonder if this is going to. I know there's some talk of Traveler's Tales losing that Lego license. Right. I wonder. This is giving them some ammunition. Or maybe Lego's gonna be like, the Lego name is the best name, and it doesn't matter who makes the game. They're gonna get all FIFA about it.
Yes, exactly. I think like the obvious thing here is the investment that WB and Traveler's Tales poured into this game to sort of update the way people play it. It paid off. People were ready for this franchise to come back, and they were ready for it to feel new and fresh. And they succeeded on all those fronts. And you're right, families across every platform showed up for it. And then fans did as well. And there's a lot of both of those things. Elden Ring is the best-selling game of the last 12 months, outselling Call of Duty Vanguard.
That's pretty nice. Nothing outsells Call of Duty Vanguard,
or Call of Duty
Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that was really kind of a bit of an off entry for that franchise, and we're seeing more of it. It's part that and part just Elden Ring being a big deal.
Yeah, and again, this points to why Activision wants to sell. They are at a low point. They don't necessarily see a pathway forward that is going to super duper change the trajectory they're on. So they're like, hey, let's get out of here. We don't want to have to rebuild this thing. We don't like a Call of Duty that can get outsold was sort of unthinkable. But you know, by April was unthinkable 10 years ago, unless it was a Rockstar game. So I think that, you know, Elden Ring is big, absolutely. But this is a sign that Call of Duty Vanguard was a particularly weak entry. Mike, that does it for the news. Why don't we read some super chats? We got a lot of those. I'd like to hear what they have to say.
Right after Mike takes a short break for
We'll be right back, everybody. All right, Mike, you're good.
Miyamoto, eat shit coffee. That's fine.
This is Miyamoto.
I forgot about this Miyamoto.
Yeah, me too. Actually, I'm glad people bringing it back. I'm gonna make sure we never forget again. We'll never forget. I'm gonna make that joke every week now. You're all done? Okay. Just set it down on the table and I'll come put it in the fridge. Thank you for telling me. She wanted a fizzy drink, one of her mama's fizzy drinks. And I'm like, please don't, because mom will get upset if you waste it. So she's like, okay, I'm going to drink it. And when I'm done, I'll tell you, and we're going to put it back in the fridge. So she's going to tell me that she's all done with her fizzy drink. I wonder if she's got a burp really bad. She probably does, and probably doesn't know how. She doesn't drink a lot of carbonated stuff. All right. How you doing, chat? Are there fizzy juice boxes? Not that would be probably a bad idea, right? Because the cardboard would probably start to like burst after a while. It's a Miller Lite. You got it. That's exactly right. I cannot do those fizzy drinks. They get my GERD. They get my GERD going. Give me a.
Talking about fizzy, you just mean soda?
No, it's like one of those fizzy waters. I guess that. I mean, technically,
LaCroix.
LaCroix, and I don't know the name of the brand.
Bubbly or whatever.
Jeff only plays the meat flute. Very, very wonderful. Thank you so much.
Wow, that's a joke about Jeff touching his penis.
Yes, exactly. Which I suppose fair enough. Oh my GERD. Okay, all right. Let me unpause. We'll get back in this.
Excuse me. All right, I gotta move this over here so I can read these here. All right, I am ready to go.
3, 2, 1. Mike, read the super chats.
All right. Irio Delgado says, really hope God of War isn't delayed because that and Starfield were the only two games I was looking forward to for fall this year so far. Then he says Metroid HD in fall.
I hope so.
I hope so. Nintendo's already got a pretty good fall setup, and especially now their fall is looking pretty stacked already. Right. Maybe they don't need to place down any more of their cards.
Yeah, but they wouldn't change the way they were going to do things or do things based on what happens with these other companies. They're like, if we have a way to make more money, we will. It's the 20th anniversary of Metroid. That game is in the works. I think it comes out in November.
Paul Heyman says, what would your tag team name be in wrestling? I mean, I assume just Beef and Cheddar Boys.
Yeah. I mean, if it was kind of funny wrestling, the last of the Nintendogs, I wouldn't be against like just doing that.
Because then we could promote the show at the same time. Right, just be the
Nintendogs. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But either way, we would come in like the Steiner brothers, basically.
They probably have like some like the Junkyard Dogs entrance theme song on there that you can pick, right? And you probably
hope
start
so.
with a bunch of woofing.
Yeah,
use that. Yeah,
that'd be fine.
Ariel Delgado also asks, Indiana Jones 83, and is it Xbox exclusive or no? We
still don't know. But I would, the way it's so far off that it feels like they probably were able to maybe figure that one out. But there's no guarantee because they did make that deal like before Microsoft was owner. And then if they made the deal and the deal included multi-platform, which it very likely could have, then it will be. But we don't know. If Microsoft got to decide, it would be exclusive, though.
Will be at E3.
I don't know. I suppose Machine Games probably is overdue to show something, so it probably will be. I think it probably will be there. We probably will see something from Indiana Jones there.
Soisuke says, "Here's some Little Caesars money. Mod Boy
Yeah.
got his bonus today. Love you both. Also, Jim Ryan sucks. Thank you, Soisuke. That's a nice donation. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Sosuke.
That's enough for like, man, almost enough for 2 hot and readies each by the old price of the hot
Yeah,
and
for the
ready. Would have been
pre-inflation prices, right? Yeah.
pre-inflation price. Casual says, "Happy Friday. Now tell me about your favorite Disney games for the GameCube, please. If none, your favorite GameCube gems. Love you all. The best Disney game for the GameCube actually is that game that just runs on the Tony Hawk's
Oh
Pro Skater
yeah,
3 or 4 engine. What's it called? It's a fun.
Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure.
Yes. It's great. It's literally just like one of those Tony Hawk games from that era, but you play as like Tarzan or Timon and Pumbaa or Buzz Lightyear, and then they have like some Disney themed wrestles. It's not very big or expensive, but it's a lot of fun. And by this point, a lot of those Disney licensed games weren't very good anymore necessarily. But that one is fantastic. So yeah, there's a weird GameCube gem for you.
Disney Sports Soccer. That's probably good. Made by Konami.
I didn't play that one.
I didn't either. I'm just picking out a random one.
Radu
Yeah, go ahead.
Paragotana says, Balan Wonderworld NFTs coming, embrace Oblivion. I assume that he's joking. I hope he's joking.
Yeah,
That should be the
joking.
last NFT that is ever minted, is a Balan Wonderworld one.
Yeah, but he's right. Embrace Oblivion, because when you do that, that's when the devil is summoned and takes us all.
What? I'm almost afraid to ask, but like I say, everyone's talking about. Did the blockchain market like actually super finally crash, or is it just down again? And
It's down again. It seems like it's a pretty excessive crash, but it's not anything I hasn't seen before for the most part. At least not yet. It hasn't bounced back all the way, and it very well could continue to just go down, and it could trend to zero. That's the thing. Like, that's why people are like, hey, it looks like it's going that way. There was like a pretty significant bounce back for some of these coins, like 30%.
It's not low enough yet that I could just tell Dean we shouldn't write about NFTs anymore yet.
I mean, we could tell him. I don't think he's going to listen. The NFT market seems like it's demolished, but he'll just say everything is down. So yeah.
Supernova says, "How are you, gentlemen? Is the organization, the Xbox Studios, bad after the delay? Are you ready for Kojima and Keighley super chats?" I mean, is this an organizational problem, Jeff, or is it just? I mean, there's so many factors here. It is strange that back when all these deals were happening, we're like, wow, like maybe not yet, but at some point, this is really going to make sure that their output is so much better. It almost feels like, man, we're still not there yet. We're still not at this point where that output actually has improved by a lot.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reality. It's like they it does feel like they should be at that point. They're not, but also they actually weren't ever going to be at that point even now, just based on the way all those deals crumbled out. Like, they were just had too many pre-existing things that they had to see through, and it was always going to be by like late 2022, early 2023 at the earliest, before they really got there. And then they had to delay 2 of the games that were going to like kick this off, and now it's not going to be till 2023. Is it like, part of it can be laid down to management, because they could have foresaw this as a possibility, so they should have had something else in the works to quell people's fears. But also, it is still just linear time. It really is just like that. You can't jump ahead. You can't move past like physics. You got to just go through this tough part before you get to the point where now we're reaping everything that we've sowed with all these acquisitions.
Stephen Hart says, "To be real, as long as Xboxes are flying off the shelf, is the Starfield news really going to affect them that negatively?" So, I mean, I think they're still going to be selling consoles because a lot of people want next-gen consoles, and that's a commodity. It's going to hurt them with Game Pass more than anything.
Yeah, you wonder if they can like make up that like the dearth of new users coming to Game Pass when these games do come. But you want to like have consistent growth, right? So they're gonna have to report a couple quarters where things aren't growing probably. So that's gonna be tough for them. But yeah, they'll probably keep selling almost every Xbox that they make through the end of the year, right? I mean, at the holiday times, even when they don't have a big game, if they don't have a big game, they probably will still sell every Xbox they put on shelves. And then if they have Starfield right after that, they probably will be fine. But that's like academic, right? At a certain point, we're talking about how people feel about owning their Xbox. Like, at that point, it doesn't matter if you sell more Xboxes. This is like, do I feel good about owning this thing? And a lot of people don't feel good about it.
Victor Marinez says, "Not having games is something people can handle, even though it's frustrating. Now, if those games were bad, heads will roll. 2023 is Judgment Day. There's a point that a lot of this will be forgotten and forgiven if 2023 comes and we get
Yes.
these games and they are fantastic and everyone will be happy. It'll just kind of be that thing. Man, remember when Microsoft just didn't release anything in 2022? That was weird.
Yep. I mean, like, honestly, a lot of consoles have had really long droughts. This one's pretty extreme, though, but even still, like, the N64 had a lot of droughts, but people don't actually talk about that all that much, even at the end of that console. Even, like, people, like, when you're assessing it, it's like, yeah, here were the good games, and there weren't, like, millions of them, but here were the good games. Like, that's still the conversation that was happening. It was never like, oh, at the first couple years of this console, I was waiting months at a time for new games to play. You actually forget that stuff pretty quickly. So that could still happen here.
Danny Mitchell says, after the delays, I see a lot of stories about mismanagement. How do you guys see Xbox management? Seems to me they did delays that helped last year. Bought 10 studios, created Game Pass, pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they should have had a plan for this scenario, right? For this scenario where both these games can't come out, what do you do then? And it does seem like they're caught with their pants down now. And I think that it probably is bad management. I don't think it's end of the world stuff.
Catastrophically bad, maybe.
I don't think it's
not like get rid of everybody, drain the swamp bad. Huh?
Exactly. Right. Look, the overall strategy is still working, and they still have not been able to fully exercise this idea of having all these studios releasing games. I think that this team that's in charge probably should get the chance to show us what a 2023 and 2024 looks like. And if those games do come out in bad, I think this super chat's exactly right. That is the actual moment of truth. Once they start having a game per quarter, and if 3 out of 4 of those games are bad, then okay, then this actually is a problem. You actually are bad at this management, and you need to understand that you probably should have done something different. For now, it just feels like we're still in that waiting for things to hit their stride, and then it feels unfair to judge.
You know who does want somebody fired is XX Ghost Sniper XX.
Yep.
He says, dude, stop. Someone needs to be fired. Halo being a joke. No 2022 games. Perfect Dark Hell. Everwild. Undead Labs. Awful Game Pass lineup this year.
Okay, but listen, Xbox killer, just sell your Xbox stock then. If you're worried about people getting fired, just sell your stock.
We weren't sure this was Xbox killer.
Because I only read the one where it's like not a troll. But yeah, okay, no, it definitely is Xbox killer. Yeah, just sell your Xbox stock, and then there you go. You don't have to worry about it anymore.
The Andrew 13 says, I always find plenty to play on Xbox Game Pass month to month, but I was really looking forward to Starfield. As a Pirates fan, I'm used to being kicked in the nuts. So, I'm not a Pirates fan necessarily, but that team's very close to me, and I know some Pirates fans, and yeah, that's a rough situation there. They have it worse than the Indians fans even. Or Guardians fans, excuse me.
That's going to happen.
Torn Raptor says, honestly believe that had Microsoft not bought Bethesda, these games would release this year. ZeniMax needed the games to release. Microsoft does not want to repeat a Halo Infinite or a Cyberpunk situation. That's an interesting hypothetical. If this was just still down to Bethesda, would Bethesda really have been able to say, you need to delay those games? Because
they didn't delay Fallout 76, right?
They did not delay Fallout 76, and if any game needed to be delayed, it was that. Now, maybe they learned something from that. Maybe, right? Maybe.
Yeah.
But maybe not.
But
that
I mean,
game didn't sell a lot at first, and then they were able to fix it.
Right. Microsoft's, and we've seen this proven time and time again with this. They've delayed Deathloop a bunch of times, and they delayed Ghostwire Tokyo. Now, in Deathloop's case, in my opinion, it worked out. Ghostwire Tokyo, I haven't played, but it seems like the reception's much more lukewarm. So it's like, oh, Ghost Sniper. Thou doth protest too much. All right, but we can go on to the next super chat, Mike.
This is a super chat. Toadpack Shakur says Master Chief and Makey, I don't know if this is that character's name, Makey getting intimate in this week's Halo episode is going to be the most talked about segs scene. He spells it SEGGS. That's good.
Yeah, that's how the kids do it on TikTok so they don't get banned.
Nice. For some time. Until Mike and I hook up at Jeff's 9/11 cookout this summer. That is a super chat. To be clear, that's a joke about a tweet. We're not actually having a 9/11 cookout.
No, we're not.
That would be
yes.
awful and insensitive. Somebody tweeted, it was like, just mentioned 9/11 cookouts next to 4th of July cookouts
as if it's a normal thing.
We all do.
Yeah. Which we don't. I have never even heard of this concept.
NBMTX said fired, ? Xbox and Game Pass continue to grow. Yeah, no one's getting fired. The concern is to see if Xbox has if Game Pass has a stall because of this, and because there's just not very much super exciting you can put on there this year, at least when it comes to, especially with new releases. So that might cause them some problems. Visualizer says, I don't work in games, but as a software engineer, I can attest that it is a miracle when any substantial piece of software gets released and works.
Yes.
And yeah, I know we've heard that before.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like a miracle all the time. Like anytime anything comes out, and like movies too, it's like someone was explaining to me like there was a making of Mad Max Fury Road book, and it was like all these situations where one thing could happen. They were going to make that movie with Eminem. Mike, did you know that?
Really?
Mad Max Fury Road got very, very far along with Eminem playing Mad Max.
Interesting.
Yes, and it's like that. But the reason they didn't do it is he didn't want to film in a desert. He wanted to film near his home, and so they didn't do that, and everything fell apart. But it's like then years later they did another movie that's perfect, right? So all kinds of things can go one way or the other, and it just cause kind of these things to either work or not work, and it all feels like luck in the end when you look back at it.
Supernova says, "Cruisin', come on, go cruising, cruising." Thank you, Supernova. Carl Len says, any chance Ubisoft Plus goes into Game Pass over this? There's a way you can maybe throw some money to help this problem, Jeff, right?
Yeah, I think Ubisoft's still like hesitant about that because they see what happened with EA, where it's like EA had their own thing and then they put it in Xbox, and now it feels like they can never take it out of Xbox because no one's gonna like view it as a value anymore, because it's like the Game Pass is the value. That's what we care about. So but I know more Ubisoft games in Game Pass seems like a distinct possibility. Yeah.
Supernova says Jim Ryan graduated from Asylum City. What's this reference to?
I don't know. Asylum City? What?
ASYLAM City?
I don't know. That must be a British thing.
Yeah, it went over my head, but thank you for super chat, Supernova. SSSRCR85 says, this is for you. Unlike other YouTubers being good sports and letting us insult you guys and make fun of you without getting butthurt or crying. I love you, Mike. Yes, Jeff and I are incapable of taking ourselves seriously, which is sometimes a detriment, but often a benefit.
Yeah, for sure. Very unprofessional and proud of it. God damn it.
Yes. Yeah. Supernova says, is Kojima involved in making Silent Hill remake with Bluebird team? Hashtag Kojima, the Shala Shaka.
I mean, I don't think so. I don't know for sure. I would say almost certainly not. I think that would be, it seems very unlikely that either of those entities would want to work with each other anytime soon. Like maybe at the end of their career, or end of his career, once Konami's in completely different hands, maybe they'll be like, oh, let's get together for old time's sake and do a Metal Gear thing. But I really don't think they'll work together right now.
Rev408 says, Jeff, thanks for unblocking me on Twitter. I will shut up and know my role. What did Rev do to you?
I can't remember exactly. It was like some joke about like I can't remember. Oh, James. I said like, oh, the people will doubt James Cameron. Good luck with that. And it's like then he did like a picture of weird nerd defending James Cameron. I thought it was. I'm like, why would I deal with a weird person like this? So I blocked him. He's like, I didn't really mean it that way. I'm like, okay, fine, unblocked. Usually when people ask to be unblocked, I unblock them because it means that they have like a conscience and they just made a mistake. And you know, it's very easy to block people. And I'm like, why would I deal with something that's like going to kind of annoy me if I could just block you instead? And then if you ask, it's like, okay, no problem.
He didn't even dox you like that guy doxed me over my Mickey Mouse opinion.
And that's why I blocked him too, because it's like, if you're really going to come at me, just really go all the way and dox me.
Go all the way. Brian A says, hello, I have a week off from work and am having a staycation. Jeff, I might need to do that. You're going to be too busy moving.
Yes.
But before things get crazy here. He says, I'm trying to beat 50 games this year. What do you guys recommend? Have a good weekend. Retro games, those are pretty easy to beat, especially if you just use save states.
Oh, you mean Juicy?
I swear to God, I'm gonna actually get pissed off if you try to steal this from me with this awful. What is that? That doesn't even make sense.
I love Juicy, and then it's JUSSY, and it's you got a YOLO at the end. No. I just think it makes a perfect T-shirt. And
no, I already had a perfect T-shirt, and now it's not going to work. So now everyone's going to get mad. It's not Juicy. Everyone's like, why is it Juicy? And now there will be no T-shirt. You all done fucked up. You did a good thing, and you destroyed it by having to make it weird.
God, you make it so much fun to do this, though. That's the problem.
Damn it. I shouldn't make it fun, but I can't help it. So I am who I am. I'm a mad Mikey.
All right, okay. It's such a good idea. I don't want to ruin it. So no, your idea is good. Is what I'm saying. I don't want to ruin it.
Fine, I'll make a
But it's fun
shirt.
though.
Just
Wet ass
safe
juicy.
states.
See, people get it.
Oh my god! What sucks is I could spend like hours making this really well crafted Just shirt, and then Jeff will make some shitty off center Jussie shirt where he photoshops our faces in with some awful Photoshop filter, and he'll send 100 of them.
Yeah, we've sold quite a few so far. So yeah.
Oh, did we? I wouldn't know. I haven't gotten any T-shirt money. I wouldn't know, Jeff.
let's take a look. Your spreadshirt.com. All right. While I'm looking this up, you could do the next super
The next
chat.
super chat's from Friday. Hello. Oh, that's right. Yeah, play retro games. The Uncharted Wolf said, "Hello, Grubster and Monotemia. What a Monotemia. Is that like Minotti? I don't know. Anyways, he's saying, do you feel that Xbox has been too laissez-faire? That's one of my favorite words, laissez-faire with their studios. Do you think they need to put their foot down more? I mean, no.
No.
So what are you gonna do? I mean, what you gonna pressure them to crunch? Because that's not going to be a good idea, morally or even business-wise, because people just get mad and leak out there. I mean, even we were talking about how the Lego Star Wars games did well. That's getting overshadowed a bit because their crunch culture has been awful. So, like that's a problem, and that may hurt what should be like a good time to celebrate. Everybody seems to be mad and didn't have a good time working there.
This is a very common refrain from people who like want to be mad at Xbox. The management just needs to step in and put the foot down. And I mean, we just don't know the reality on the ground. And for the most part, over the last year, this has worked out for them. They've had a lot of Metacritic successes, right? They've had a lot of games that people are very into. Now, some of those, you might not be into those, like Flight Simulator and Psychonauts 2 and stuff like that. But by letting these studios do what they want, like they've been able to like hang on to who's in charge of Double Fine, Tim Schafer and stuff. Like he still wants to be there and making games because he gets a lot of money and he gets a lot of freedom. And to me, that I would lean towards that being more important than being like a top-down centralized planner sort of situation, which I if you've ever heard me before, I'm against the idea of like someone in charge making all the decisions and micromanaging people like on the ground actually working on stuff.
People are in charge.
What's that?
Usually love when people are in charge.
Yeah,
especially
exactly.
of you.
Yes, exactly. So it's like I'd rather people working on the stuff be able to make the decisions themselves. But if you're like talking about like a quality check at the end, it does seem like that's what these delays have been about. That includes Deathloop and Ghostwire and now these games, where it's like we're not going to let these games come out and be bad, but we still want to give you the freedom to make the game you want to make. And I think that's the right balance.
XX Ghost Sniper XS says legit criticism of Xbox, then quotes OMG Xbox killer. Look, I'm still pretty sure you're Xbox killer. It might be wishful thinking because as soon as all this stuff happened, everybody's like, oh, I hope Xbox killer's here. He types exactly like Xbox killer.
Come on, we're not stupid. Like don't insult our intelligence that you're not Xbox killer. It's
fine.
Yeah,
I don't care. You can keep saying the super chats and whatnot. I think it's weird. We've criticized Xbox a lot on this show.
Yeah,
we're still not happy with the level of it because we don't think everyone should be fired.
But it's okay if you want everyone to be fired. Do something about it then. What do you want us to do about it? We don't work there. What do you want us to do about it?
We have to call for it, Jeff. That's going to be our new thing now. It used to be Arby's.
Fired, yeah.
It used to be Arby's. Now it's getting everyone at Xbox fired.
That's I just think it's always a weird thing when people who don't work somewhere ask.
Doesn't he hate Xbox? Who does he care who works there?
That's the thing. I'm like, so he must care because he's got investments. So just sell your investments.
Hired source says, will Square push Final Fantasy 16 this year thanks to delays? I don't think the delays of Starfield is going to impact when they wanted to release Final Fantasy 16. It's either going to come out this year because that was always the plan, or it's not because that was the plan, or / it got delayed and needed more time. I don't think it has anything to do with Starfield.
And if God of War does come this year, which I think there's still a strong possibility it does, even though it does feel like everything's getting delayed. If that comes and Final Fantasy 16 comes this year, Sony's got a fucking great lineup. Those two games alone kind of help it stand apart. So
right. Yeah, I mean, it does definitely give Final Fantasy 16 a pretty good spot if it can make it to this holiday. It should do very well, especially since this seems to be being made by one of Square Enix's increasingly rare competent teams.
Yes.
Jeremy G
92
said,
t-shirts. We've sold 92 t-shirts so far.
Look at that.
92 pieces of merch, actually.
Jeremy G says, Zynga deal just passed FTC. Activision closes in 2022? ?
What's the question? I'm sorry.
Well, he says so. The Zynga deal just passed. The FTC just passed that one. So does the Activision Blizzard deal close this year?
I mean, maybe. It's probably still going to close early next year or something like that.
Danny Mitchell says Minecraft RTX was shown over 2 years ago running on a Series X. It's the only game I have seen where ray tracing actually dramatically changes the game. So what the hell? Also, I hate Microsoft.
Yeah.
I hate Minecraft, but it's strange.
Okay, so the answer to this is very simple. The difference, so RTX ray tracing, what it does is it simulates the physics of light. And what happened is that game developers before this had to just get really good at like being artists and mimicking that. And so they got very, very, very good at it. So the faked version looks almost as good as the RTX version. So really this is about kind of slight improvements based on what we could see, and then huge improvements for developers because they could just flip on a switch. RTX happens in real time, and now they don't have to spend all their time trying to bake in lighting so it looks right. There is definitely some gameplay potential where it's like light and shadow and having light bounce around and playing around with that stuff. And that stuff can look very good in stuff like Metro Exodus. I think it can look fantastic, but it is much more subtle because baked lighting is just very well done.
Yeah, so I know for me, I can really only see much of a difference if I'm if I'm admiring those reflections or things like that. Like the biggest impact I ever noticed with ray tracing was really in Spider-Man Miles Morales, just like being on those glass buildings and watching like the cars go by.
That stuff does look good. I agree.
Nick S says, since Nintendo has started the drip feed strategy for their sports games, they've all been lackluster. Do you think this will hurt Mario Strikers? I mean, the bright side there is that Mario Strikers is next level games who made those last very good ones of Mario Strikers and also seem to be as hot as ever coming off of their biggest game by far, Luigi's Mansion 3. So that's why I still am pretty excited for Mario Strikers, even though the last Mario Golf didn't really do anything for me, and I probably wouldn't be very excited about the next Mario Tennis or
right.
We already had Mario Tennis also on Switch, didn't we?
And we gotta,
I forgot. I don't even remember anymore.
Yeah, and look at the worlds that these games are coming into, right? And Nintendo has like the best one to look towards is Nintendo Switch Sports, a game that would have just been a party game before they turned into a pretty big online game. And that was some of the big problems with Mario Golf and even Mario Tennis to a certain extent was like playing it online wasn't as fun. It's just like treating it as a party game like Mario Party. They know after the pandemic, they can't rely on that anymore. And so look at Mario Strikers with a big deal they're making out of all the online modes and stuff like that. You can play 8 players online. That's stuff I probably would not have expected before the pandemic, but now it does seem like the path that they're willing to go down. And also I do have faith in Next Level.
Toadpack Shakira says, Jeff talking about blocking weird people, and I'm just sitting here knowing I'm on a borrowed time. I mean, if the message is now about having sex with me at the 9/11 cookout doesn't do it, then I don't know. You might be invincible. I shouldn't say that. Brett Bingham says, good afternoon, Jeff, Troll Grubb, and Mike Meltdown Minotti. Damn it. Supernova says, Shala Shaka, Mike, reference to Ocelot from Metal Gear Solid. I knew that's what you were doing, and I still said it wrong. Yeah, Shala Shaka, that's right. Alexander Dark 91 says, I'm not counting Xbox and Game Pass out for 22 yet. The time of the announcement, a month before the showcase, is very suspicious.
Yeah,
maybe. I think that's just getting ahead of it, maybe. Because you don't want to announce the stuff at the showcase. You also don't want to have a big blow for these games. And then, like, when you kind of know, these aren't coming out this year, so we can't, like, are we going to lie about it? We have to announce it here?
Right.
I don't know.
I think that, your best hope is that Josh Sawyer game comes out and it's like game of the year material, and Forza Motorsport comes out and it really does feel like a next gen racing game, and like that Project Belfry comes out and it's just like this gorgeous 2D art style and stuff like that, and it just blows people away. Those games can still come and like win over hearts and minds, but the big AAA first party games that people talk about and what they mean when they talk about that kind of stuff, that stuff's just not in the cards. I don't know what they could possibly have based on what I know.
Is Crossfire X going to be Microsoft's biggest first party exclusive for Xbox this year?
You know that scene in Office Space where he goes to talk to the guy that does the hypnosis and stuff, and he explains like every day is the worst day of my life, and the hypnosis is like, man, that's fucked up. That's what you just said is fucked up.
I've never actually seen Office Space, which is terrible.
It's a classic. But I try not to shame people for the movies they haven't seen, but I'll say it is a classic.
Fair enough. All right, Jeff, that is. Oh, we just got one more in from Chris. Says, happy weekend, guys. Jeff, is Cal Kestis still the main character in Jedi 2? Sorry if you already talked about this. I joined late.
Have talked about this, but not publicly. I looked into this because there's rumors out there that he's not, and he is. Cal Kestis is still the star of that game. He's the main character. I suppose.
Talk about asking the right question there, Chris.
Yeah, well done. So I suppose that does not mean that there aren't other playable characters but I'm not saying there are either. I don't know. What I was told is Cal Kestis is the main character still.
I find it weird if he wasn't. I
agree.
People...
So there's a lot of people like when I'm getting tagged in all those Star Wars accounts that are like, Jeff Grubb said this, and people are replying to it being like, I want to be able to create my own Jedi. And I get it. I felt that way before, but after playing it, Cal Kestis' story is something I want to see continue. I'm desperate actually to see it continue. I love these characters.
Oh, Brett Bingham says, Jeff, give us your best Bill Lumberg impression.
I'm gonna have to have you. It's just my normal voice. I feel like I'm just gonna have to have it come in on the weekend here. Yeah, that's the best I can do. It's Office Space. Yeah, he's the boss, and he tells people to come in on the weekend. Mike, what do you want me to do here?
Well, a better job, but I can't expect too much from you.
That's fair. That's a good point.
All right, Jeff, that is it for Super Chats. Now, if you guys have more Super Chats, we will read them before the end of the show. But let's get to those community questions from Discord.
Yeah, and I forgot about this. So just give me a second while I open Discord in my browser, because I can't open it there, too.
You get 1 second.
Okay, thanks for letting me kill time there. Appreciate that. I go here.
Yes, I should just refuse. In retaliation for Dusty, I should just sit here in silence.
Podcast producers, thank you, Turbo Sean, for doing it. Questions for GamesBeat Decides. Here we go. All right. This one's from VJ. Oh, no fun name this week, VJ, huh? All right, fine. I have to point out some additional absurd facts about Orson Welles' last movie role being Unicron from the Transformers the movie.
Very good.
All right, I'm very happy about this. Since it was mentioned on GB Decides last week, the day he died, October 10th, 1985, Wells wrapped up recording lines that morning and then taped an interview for Merv Griffin where he was vaguely racist about the Japanese and these toy robots that change into one another. That's a quote. Transformers was animated in Japan/Korea, but produced and created in the US, for the record. Yeah, it's totally not. Yes, absolutely. So not only was his final movie role the de facto final boss for one of the nerdiest franchises of all time, but he spent his final hours being bitter about it. Anyway,
that's just classic Orson Welles.
Yes, it absolutely. Like, I would want it no other way. Anyway, the movie's still dope. They remastered it in 4K last year and is worth revisiting or watching for the first time. Everyone have a good weekend till all are one. My big thing about that movie is there's a Weird Al song in that movie, right?
I was just about, that's what I
wanted to say. Dare to be stupid. It's just straight up on the soundtrack.
And not just on the soundtrack, Jeff. There's a part where like robots dance to it for a little bit.
And to be fair, it's actually not like a straight parody song. It's a style parody. It's a parody of Devo's style. So kind of original, right? But still, it feels weird that Weird Al is
incredible.
It's incredible. You're right. I was like, we used to watch that movie and sync it up with other music, and then we watched it again. I'm like, that's fucking Weird Al, and I was like losing my mind. All right, from Dr. Turbo Sus. Hey, BNC gents, you always start the show with, it's the internet, you're busy, so let's do this. And then go into a 2-minute long credit reading session. What's up with that? I thought we were doing this. Yeah, listen, I fucked up pretty bad, huh?
Well, that's just Jeff.
Yeah, it's just, listen, I used to care a lot about making sure that we got right into things, and then I gotta tell you what, I stopped caring so much, and that's just the reality. From Revan, I have a standalone question. Why? God, man, I don't fucking know. I don't know. Mike, why?
Because you have to ruin everything, and then I have to get mad about Jesse. That's why.
From Dugan, Deciders, is the game mess seem extra messy this year? Do you think there will still be a gamer Christmas in late June, or will it be more spread out this year? Thanks as always. It'll be early June. I think it's gonna be pretty condensed. If we get a Sony thing in early June, I think most people are going to be pretty happy this year, right? Because then we get a Nintendo thing almost certainly. We know we get at Microsoft Summer Game Fest and Sony. That's a good couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen.
From Turbo Madden. Hello, Mike, undefeated king of Riff Tracks comedy, Minotti.
Yes, it's true.
And Jeff, okay, Riff Traxer, but ain't no Tom Servo Grubb. That's definitely fair. What video game have you had the most fun riffing on while playing, or what games have you two played that comes closest to the cinema that MST3K riffs on? Balan Wonderworld was definitely that for me, because I streamed that whole thing, and definitely I was having a good time just sort of joking with the people who were having fun watching me be miserable, which is the entire concept of MST3K.
Yeah, I mean, I've only really started streaming a lot more like last several months, and I haven't played bad games really yet. So I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure if I've done a whole lot of like bad game riffing, to be honest. Coming soon, maybe.
Yeah, you're streaming a lot more, and I'm sure you get to a point where people want to inflict a bad game on you. I think you should play Left Alive. We should play all of those those bad Square Enix games. The Quiet Man should be one as well.
You've been wanting to play Quiet Man for a while. We bought it.
Yeah, we'll have to do it.
So it's for like $2.
From Beef, the Halo champ Hammer. After the indie world, are we even sure Silk Song is real? I'm sure it's not. Maybe it was a collective fever dream we all had. Just think about it.
I played it.
Does anyone even like Hollow Knight?
Oh my god.
Seems like everyone says it's okay at best. Doesn't hold a candle to something like SteamWorld Dig 2. Or maybe they canceled it after hearing people like Mike constantly trash it. Just a thought. Thanks, boys.
Fuck you. Next.
It's just straight up gaslighting. I'm here for it.
That's right.
From Pinball RJ. Why isn't WB making a Batman game right now? Kind of weird that they're making 2 games with Batman characters, but no game where you play as their most popular character. Imagine if we didn't play any Spider-Man games in the past 7 years. Mike, this is a very good point, actually, in my opinion.
It actually is. Yeah. I was looking at that Gotham Knight thing, and I'm like, that looks fun. I wish I was playing as Batman.
Do you think Batman is like DLC or something?
No, I think it's worse than that. I think you unlock him like towards the end of the game.
Okay.
I don't think he's dead. Yeah. It'll be worse than that. I guess that would be better, but yeah, I don't know. Does anybody really like, I'm afraid to like get the comic book fans to come out. Does anybody really like Nightwing? Is that a thing?
I think some people do. I was going to say, or like
the Red Hood.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't care about these people, Jeff. I want to play as Batman.
Either. Yeah, me too. They don't even make a Superman game, period, in like forever. So it's like, that's even worse. But I suppose that one's like a challenge or something.
Yeah, all right. I mean, the whole thing with that in Suicide Squad seems so potentially fucked to me, but we'll see.
Oh, I love you too, kiddo. From Nick Turbo, I didn't find out until recently that the X in Xbox meant DirectX. What is something in gaming that took you a while to realize and made you feel like an idiot for not realizing sooner?
I called Charizard for a very long time until I think
like that.
The anime like said it, and then I was like, oh, well, I even called it Charmander and Charmeleon, but for some reason I was like Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard. I don't know why. I'm an idiot.
That time on the Bombcast where Jeff Gerstmann realized that a Phoenix down meant Phoenix feathers. Like, even when they did that, I listened to it a couple times and it still didn't register to me. I'm like, what do they mean? Why is everyone going, oh, because they didn't just explain that it was Phoenix feathers, because down as in down. And so like my brain is so stupid that even as they were all realizing, it still took me like a couple of times before I was like, oh, Phoenix down as like in a down pillow filled with feathers. That's not a concept I ever really thought about before.
Oh, the F-Zero one's a famous one too, Pablo.
Yes.
Yeah. RDX Son of a Fence super chat saying, love Nightwing. Dick is the goat of Robins. Other people too. Probably people do love Nightwing. I still actually just don't believe them.
Obviously they think they do. They're just a mass delusion, Mike. We have to just accept it. We're just making the DC fans really happy with us tonight.
yeah, I guess. Look, obviously not really my thing.
From Laoshin, hey guys, hope you're doing well. Jeff, I have not played Metroid Dread. I don't like Metroidvania, but I do own Metroid Dread. I got the collector's edition since I thought it would become rare, and I bought a second copy as a gift for a friend. Questions. I know the amount are probably arbitrary, but where do AA budgets and AAA budgets fall in terms of costs generally? You see Sony reviving AA titles so they can drop them day one into PS Plus Premium. Thanks again. I actually do think that will happen way more often with PS Plus Premium, where they will find ways. Maybe a lot of them will be like third-party games, but they'll probably make a few games here and there to drop into PS Plus that aren't their massive budget games. Where do the numbers fall? Like, anything north of $100 and $150 million is massive for a game, and Sony is almost always over that for all of the big games that you're thinking of that come from Sony. This is definitely why they are interested in live service games that cost less to make up front, and then have the chance to make significantly more money over time. They want to have this to sort of balance out these massive risks they take with every single one of their games, where if one of them goes really poorly, it'll cost them dearly, and they don't want to have that be their only risk profile.
It sure is work out for Nintendo that they get to spend all their effort just making good games for a system where they don't have to worry about 4K, who's he, what's it, or whatnot. Is that why they're able to release so many more games? Do they just have that
I
many
mean,
more
it's
studios?
definitely part of it. Yes, it's definitely part of it that they don't have to make 4K assets. Absolutely, they can be much like the amount of detail they have to put in their games is still pretty high. It was a challenge for them when they shifted to HD. But they've caught up with that, and now their games look fantastic, and they don't have to worry about 4K detail taking up all their time. That asset creation stuff is expensive and time-consuming, and Nintendo has definitely benefited from not having to do it. From Can a Bitch Get a Donut? Howdy, Bouillon Boys. When people say there must be something in the water regarding something being attractive, what exactly do they think they mean by that?
I always thought something in the water meant something is weird, and like it's like something in the water is making everybody sick and crazy.
I think because sometimes people say it when they're like, everyone from this town is like really good at playing golf or whatever. There must be something in the water there.
Maybe. I always thought that. Well, I think it's just a matter of if anything is different about people, you say something's in the water because everybody has to drink the water.
Right. Yes, exactly. So they're talking about fluoride. They're talking about fluoride for sure.
Talking about fluoride. They're talking about H2 Flow from Parks and Rec.
From Xbox Delays, Cat Birthdays, JRG. Happy Friday, Beef and Ched Armada comrades. You'll probably talk about this on the show before question, but I'll ask anyway. Starfield delay sucks. It is what it is. Do you think Phil brings out the checkbook to get a big third-party game day one on Game Pass to fill the void? And what do you think they target? We talked about this. We don't know. He mentions Gotham Knights to get on cloud, so Xbox One players could jump in as well, and that makes some sense. There's something to that, absolutely, but that's not enough, right? It's not enough.
I don't know. Yeah, you need a game, and again, like what is out there right now? Could somebody in chat even say like, well, is the Resident Evil 4 remake real? Could that be on Game Pass? Like, if that's real, if that's somehow this year, maybe that's one they can throw a lot of money at.
Hogwarts is a PlayStation co-marketing thing, Benji Bops, so that they would have conditions in there that says you cannot put this in a subscription thing. So would not be an opportunity for Xbox. And there's a lot of stuff like that. Call of Duty is the same thing.
Yeah, it's rough.
Cranges McBasketball. Hey, Jeff and Mike, are we on Ragnarok delay watch, or should people calm the hell down? People are definitely on Ragnarok delay watch. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. To me, I think the game still comes out this year.
That's what I said last year about Horizon the entire time.
That's
when
true.
Everybody thought that was going to get delayed, and then I ended up feeling stupid.
I mean, I'm not going to feel stupid because it's like it'd be the least surprising thing in the world if this thing got delayed, and I feel that way right now. But I still feel like I think they're going to get it out. I think they will. But
it already was delayed.
Exactly.
This is the delay.
Right. Yes. So I kind of feel like I don't know. I don't know. Everything's getting delayed, so it does feel like the safe bet is this is going to get delayed too. I think we are on Ragnarok delay watch, and it feels 50-50 to me, and I kind of lean towards it won't, but just barely. From Octo, let's celebrate Jim Ryan saying very dumb things so they look back at other CEOs putting their foots in their mouth. From the Matrix to the Reggies to the Kotiks to the Zelnicks, Pitchfords, what are some of the dumbest / worst shit you remember hearing from a video game exec or CEO? One of my personal favorites was when Kotick, back in the 08-ish days, was saying that video game development shouldn't be fun. What a great guy. He was in Moneyball, I'll have you know. Yeah, I watched that movie a lot, and I always see him like, God damn it.
Was it Ken Kutaragi that had all the great stuff at the PlayStation 3 era? Was he the one telling people to get second jobs?
He was talking
about how
we want people to want it so much that they feel like, I do want to go get a second job. It's kind of exactly how he put it.
Yeah, that was what I always think of with this stuff. That was just the lead up to PlayStation 3 just looked so rough for that console.
Yeah, I mean, and, obviously the famous one from Matrix was like, we have a console for you. It's called the Xbox 360 when people are talking about playing offline. Just really bad answers to questions from all these guys. I'm trying to think of a Reggie one.
I was reading, I was watching some game historian videos about, I think he just did one on the history of the of Super Mario World, which is also kind of a history of the Super Nintendo. And it was funny how when like a lot of people were getting mad about the Super Nintendo because like they weren't really super used to generational shifts, and Americans like, we just bought an NES. What's this? So Nintendo's like pivot, and what the Nintendo of America president, I forget his name, was saying at the time was like, well, like the Super Nintendo's just for like the high end, like super gamer. Like you don't need that, obviously, like stuff like that. Like almost try to like dissuade people from buying. Like you're fine with your NES. Don't be mad.
Was the president at the time Arakawa? Someone in chat tell me, because I'm still practicing for the next Jeopardy.
This Arakawa. Is the Nintendo of America, I said.
Yeah, Arakawa was the president of Nintendo of America. Yes.
He wasn't Japanese.
Oh, he was. Okay, so then, all right, then maybe Howard
he was
Lincoln.
The president. I don't know. He was
Howard Lincoln, then maybe. I don't know.
Not Howard Lincoln. It wasn't the guy with the mustache. It was a guy. He's bald and got glasses, I think.
Okay, fair enough. Let's see. From Blackheart Vinyl. I mean, owning a dog does seem pretty cool, though. That's a good point. Blackheart Vinyl. That does seem pretty cool. I like the idea of owning one for sure, and I'm glad that Jim Bryan can talk to us about that.
Hey, yeah, I could bring Penny over.
No, if you own one, you're not part of this conversation. I only want to talk to people who imagine owning dogs, Mike. Get real.
I'm saying I could make it real for you, Jeff.
I don't want to make it real. I want to imagine it with Jim.
My God. From
Bop, delayed to 2023. Happy Friday, Jeff, Survivor Grubb, and Mike, Doxy Mouse, Minotti. My answer about Xbox management has been discussed multiple times, so for the sake of the time, I'll take a pass this week. Or a piss, yes. P.S. It was very nice of Bethesda to revive the Xbox has no games narrative this year. Thanks as always, and see you Spartans on the battlefield tomorrow. It definitely feels like, to go back to the God of War thing, it definitely feels like PlayStation fans are so happy to have this Xbox has no games thing again, so that they don't have to like think about whether or not God of War is going to come out. But yeah, this year does not feel like a wrong thing to say. From Mr. Bowler, Spooky Friday the 13th, Jeff and Mike. Do you think the delays of Starfield and Redfall will change how much we see of either game at the Xbox Showcase in June? Will Starfield still be the centerpiece of the show, or will something else be now? I think Starfield still has to be. I think Redfall we don't see again for a bit. That's my opinion, but I don't.
You think the Redfall people feel bad that no one seems to care as much about that?
I mean, probably a little bit, but they're also probably happy that Starfield takes the heat, right?
Yeah, because Starfield's definitely taking the heat.
Right, so you can like kind of stand behind that and like just work on your game, which is probably what they want. Let's see, where was I at? Start cheering now. Which is a reference to the last of the Nintendogs, if you don't listen, everybody. Who will be the next famous video game character to lose their virginity? God, I don't know.
Mr.
Mr. Driller, I think. It's always been very suggestive, but it will finally happen. Yeah. Let's see. From Starfield, what's the Palin? Palin's just dripping in sex, everybody. Come on.
I always say that. Somebody was saying that, somebody, like, non-ironically, he's doing the whole, it just oozes sex thing. Or they're talking about a wrestling couple. They just ooze sex. That's such a gross phrase. Yeah. I can't believe it's become called, like, those people just ooze sex. Ew.
They're covered in fluid sex from head to toe.
Yeah, like they're oozing sex. Stop saying that.
Someone has liquefied sex and covered this couple inside of it.
Yeah, and now it's seeping out of their pores.
Oh, yeah. It's just a very suggestive phrase. From Starfield Delay, lol, Sosuke. So, Jeff, you put on the Game Mess list Xbox minus Bethesda. Are we now expecting Starfield to not be there? Nah, it's just kind of like a joke. A bad joke, but it was a joke.
Bad joke.
A bad joke, for sure. It was an attempt. Barely even an attempt. I barely was trying. But I think Starfield will probably still be there. I think if it wasn't going to be there, they would have said it. They would have said it. Right now, they would have said it. So it better be there. And I imagine they probably have a lot of assets already in the works, like regardless of what was happening with the release date. All right, I had to yell at my kids. From Epic Open World. Boys, yet another Xbox question. People saying they should spend Game Pass money to get a day one third party. Isn't the most obvious candidate Saints Row? It needs some positive buzz, and THQ would probably love the cash. Folks suggesting Gotham Knights seem crazy. That will sell without Game Pass. That sounds reasonable to me, Mike, but is it
that sounds
big enough?
Better than some of them. I guess the only thing there is, like, this is THQ's maybe their biggest game in a long time, right?
Yes, ever, maybe, since they've started this Embracer stuff.
Yeah, so, like, do they really want to, quote-unquote, hedge bets? They're going to want a lot of money. They're going to be like, this could have been a mega hit if we just sold it.
Yeah.
Now, do I think it's going to be a mega hit? I'm not sure. Maybe I would take money there. It certainly would make more sense than a lot of other ones. So, yeah, you might be onto something there.
Yes. From Super Harmon. I recently set an alarm for my dog's feeding time to play One Winged Angel. Now, when it plays, she comes charging into the room and will jump around and fly kick me until I feed her. Have I made another horrible mistake? To me, this sounds perfect. This sounds like the way it should be when you own a dog.
I hope that you, at some point, play Final Fantasy VII again and forget about this. And you, like, get really excited and you get to that climactic fight and then the music plays and your dog just pile drives you.
Yeah. Fantastic. From Bitch JC, hey, Meatmen, is a hot dog a sandwich or a hot dog? I think it is a hot dog. There are some incorrect people in this Discord server, and I think the record needs to be set straight. Mike, do we even want to entertain this? Do we even want to humor this? Okay,
a hot dog's a hot dog. It's not a sandwich. Sandwiches they have layers. They're layer based. So it's almost like, well, if a hot dog sandwich, or a hot dog's not a sandwich, how come a sub is? The sub's layers. You do a cross section of a sub, you got layers when you look in there. Hot dog is like, it's like a triangle heart-shaped thing with just the penis in the middle. So
right, of course, the penis. Don't forget the penis. Very important. Mike, this is even simpler to me. If I ask for a sandwich, you give me a hot dog, I'm gonna stab you.
That's fair. Yeah, exactly. If I say I want a sandwich and you gave me like a deli cut sub sandwich, I'm like, yeah, that's fair. That's a sandwich.
Yes.
Nobody would be like, oh, well, this is what I asked for.
No. Yeah, it would just be wrong. So, and that's very simple to me. From Delta Prime 84. Now, if you're taxing stuff and you want to tax a hot dog as a sandwich, I don't give a fuck. I know New York does that. Yeah, fine. But that you're not tax people. If you're ordering a sandwich, you know what you mean. From Delta Prime 84. Okay, Beef and Cheddar Boys, put on your Venture Beat caps. The VC firm behind Motorsport Games have said they are almost out of money. NASCAR Ignition was a critical and sales failure. The BTCC game seems to have been canceled with its assets being used for an R Factor 2 DLC. And IndyCar and the WEC are trying to get out of their contracts for their respective games. Should we take this as a precautionary tale of what VCs do to video game companies, or is this an outlier? Yeah, it's a cautionary tale. This happens a lot. Where venture capitalist firms and private equity and these firms, they aren't looking to, they're never looking to make games, which is almost always a terrible strategy in gaming. And they are looking to extract value, which is kind of leechy. It's kind of vampire-y, and that's almost always going to lead to situations like this one. So, yes, it's a bad situation. From One Up versus CPU, Star Wars Jedi Survivor sounds like a new reality TV series coming to Disney Plus. But seriously, it sounds like they're going to beat on that Order 66 Fallout horse some more. Hopefully, there will be some cool cameos to distract us from the incredibly lame protagonists. Who do you think that could show up? The Bad Batch, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, Pelimato. I think that there's a strong chance that Obi-Wan shows up.
Yeah, Obi-Wan can show up now. I mean, Ahsoka can also show up. I hope they don't go too much into that stuff.
I don't really. The first game was better because they didn't.
Yeah,
the first game was better because there was no Luke Skywalker. Like, I know it's the wrong time for that, but still, it's better because they didn't do stuff like that.
Even Darth Vader kind of seemed ham-fisted in there. Like, I actually would have been fine without having Darth Vader show up.
The way they did it was very intense and well done because of the way that the other characters were acting around Darth Vader. Sure. It wasn't Darth Vader himself. It was the effect he had on the characters that you did have a relationship with. And so, like, as long as they keep focusing on those kinds of characters, it'll be a good game. I super duper don't need it to be a cameo fest, and that'll be a failure if it is.
It should definitely not be. I think what was it? The second Force Unleashed. Doesn't he just go to Dagobah and sees Yoda? Like, let's not do that.
And the Battlefront 2 campaign or whatever was like, hey, now we're gonna go see Luke Skywalker. I'm like, oh, okay, great. Yeah. From Waffle Sama, any possible updates on Project Re Fantasy, game made by ex-Persona staff at Atlas? Also, how well do you think a new Armored Core would be received today, with FromSoft being mostly known for their Soulsborne games? Well, I think Armored Core game from FromSoft today would be a Soulsborne game. I think it would be
they're probably going to Soulsborne it up.
Yes, and that could be friggin' awesome. Ooh. Actually. Project Re Fantasy, I don't know what the fuck that is, Mike. What's happening there?
It's what he says. It's a new game by I think some of the Persona team, maybe all the Persona team. I don't think we know anything else about it though. I think they've been pretty quiet there. Not so who knows.
Zipsis, hey guys, what TV series would you rather watch? A show that's I'd yell at him again. What would you rather watch? A show that's Mickey Mouse mixed with Mad Max, titled Mad Mickey, or Bugs Bunny mixed with Breaking Bad, titled Breaking Bunny? Both would be live action with practical makeup and costumes looking something like Howard the Duck.
Oh no, that's terrifying.
Well then, okay, so then Breaking Bunny is what, because you don't want him to
yeah,
soil
I don't know if
your...
I want to. Yeah, I don't know if I want to see a live action Mickey Mouse thing. So we'll go Breaking Bunny. Actually, yes.
From Nick Turbo, Mike, how do you transition from babbling baboon to drunken monkey?
Oh, let's see. I have to get my spreadsheet open. Yeah, Jeff. At the end of Escape from Monkey Island, you have to do this thing called Monkey Combat, which is incredibly complex. You basically have to. So there's like 5 different fighting forms, and you have to do different combinations of eek, oop, chi, and ok to transition to them. And each form is strong against 2 other forms, and you don't know like any of this stuff, so you have to kind of go fight the other monkeys and take notes and sort of learn all of this stuff during that. And I had to do all this on the stream the other day. And I have this just ridiculous spreadsheet now. Which one was he asking for?
He was asking, how do you transition from babbling baboon to drunken monkey?
Oh, it's bobbing. Yeah, babbling baboon to drunken monkey. That would be eek, chi. Oh, excuse me. Ok, oop, eek. Is how you do that one. Yeah, I can. I'm going to send you my spreadsheet.
Oh,
so
okay.
You can see what I had to get. They wanted me to send it to you, so I'll do it now.
Right.
There's sadly a couple things
in Slack. Is that where you're sending it to me?
I just shared it with you. So here, I'll send you the link now. Me going through and writing this stuff down, I probably sounded like a crazy person.
Yeah, no, I was super into it. And I was super paying attention and know exactly all the things you said.
Good.
All right, let's see. I'm opening it, and then. Okay, should I put it on stream? I could do that maybe. Hang on.
Sure, you can share my spreadsheet. I was very proud of it. It took a while to put together. They beat Monkey. So like Monkey Island 1, like, and some of the other ones they have like insult sword fighting. It's like this little kind of. So like
you made this. It looks like you made this.
Right. So they randomize it each time. So you can't just go in a guide and figure it out. So you have to make a new thing each time. So this is my spreadsheet. This is how So this is how you to change it to drunken monkey. From anxious ape, you go oop chi eek, and sometimes you want to be drunken monkey because drunken monkey is strong against charging chimp and anxious ape, whereas the gimpy Gibson is strong against drunken monkey and bobbing baboon. Is it bumbling baboon or bobbing baboon? I wrote down bobbing baboon, which might be wrong.
he said babbling baboon.
Yeah, well, he did. I can't remember if that's right or not. I wrote bobbing baboon, which sounds wrong.
That definitely sounds wrong. Oh, wrong thing. All right.
I don't know what the hell a bobbing baboon is. Yes, this was my.
It's going for the apples in the pool. The bobbing for apples baboon.
Didn't they say that? Didn't Microsoft Excel just team up with EVE Online? They should have had this mashup back when this game came out in 2000. They should have
absolutely 100%
partnered with the spreadsheet makers.
All right,
yes, I'm proud of this.
I'm taking this away so I can go back and see the chat again.
This is good stuff. Sadly, I had to hide the video on demand stream. I might have to edit it together because at some point I started a game and like an idiot, as I was typing my password to play the game, I just said it out loud. As I was typing it in, it's like, this is my password because I'm a moron. So I had to hide that video.
Oh, that's incredible. Oh, man. Jesus Christ. Okay. All right, then. Well, I'm glad you hit it before you told everyone again that you said your password in it. So that's at least you did that.
Now they can't find it. Don't worry.
Okay. All right. From Visualizer, what is the medicine that will heal America, and why is that medicine named James Cameron's Avatar 2? Zyrtec, the way of water. Zyrtec. That Zyrtec will heal us as well. Yes. I'm really.
Actually, Jeff, I think that it's bad that movie has similar plots to other movies. That's never happened with any of the movies that I like.
Right, and the Ferngully one is not even right. It's Dances with Wolves. It's fucking Dances with Wolves again, and people are like, it's like Ferngully because it's about the environment. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever, fine.
We can only have so many movies about how destroyed the environment's bad. Jeff.
Yeah, right, exactly.
They're not even go with the much more problematic white savior.
Yeah, exactly.
Ferngully.
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
Yeah, Jesus, people. From Haas, Payo boys. With the Grubb Snacks name leak for Jedi, do you not think companies should jump on the Survivor bandwagon? EA Survivor FC and Vampire Survivor just sound infinitely better.
Mario Survivor.
Mario Survivor's good.
That's gonna be the name of the Maso game they're making.
Overwatch Survivor could just be a battle royale. Just Overwatch Survivor. Yeah, absolutely.
Overwatch Survivor is you go into the Overwatch Reddit and you see how long you can last reading everybody whining about whatever.
I'm looking. We still have a lot of questions. Let's get through this. From Xbox Delays Cat's Birthday, Jared G. It has been confirmed that Mikey is a part of Team Cheddar for the Halo tournament. This is the Slayer team with myself, Fusion, and Bench. How many kills is Mike going to get? Over under is 12.5. I'll go with over. Mikey's going to show up. He's going to wreck.
Oh, I'm excited. I think
you better now.
I'm excited. I'm going to probably miss the big team battle portion because we're doing mine first, I think, because I have somewhere to be relatively quickly after this starts. So, but I'm glad I got the Slayer. I think I can, as they say, slay.
You could just go to your next grandma's funeral.
Oh, I lost the grandma's a long time ago.
It's hilarious. Sorry. Sorry. For Vision 49, part of FromSoft's continued success is making what they make. Making what they want to make. With Elden Ring's insane sales figures, do you think they will feel pressure internally from their parent company or externally from Bandai to make an Elden Ring 2, or at least use the IP again in a more focused Dark Souls / Bloodborne sized game? I bet they want to make an Elden Ring 2.
Yes, I think they also like making a lot of money, like too. Like they get some of that.
Yes, so. That's a very good point, right? Like if a Bandai and everyone comes to you and says, make Elden Ring 2 and we'll give you a lot more money this time, they'll probably be like, oh man, I really do want to make that game. All right, yeah. Right. I think that's probably what's going to happen.
You're done when you're vibing. You just make the last one. You can kind of, do some things. You can kind of reuse some things, improve some things. Yeah, I mean, I think we're getting an Elden Ring 2 very quick. If it's something else in between, I imagine maybe it is just like the Bloodborne, like enhanced edition or whatever.
From Danger Man Lee, hey guys, is there any tricks up Spencer's sleeve he can pull out to fill Xbox lineup for the second half of this year outside of Forza Motorsport 8? There's not many. He does not have many things up his sleeve. People go back and look. I've been saying this exact thing since last E3. For 2022, they're going to have maybe 3 big games: Redfall, Starfield, and Forza Motorsport. 2 of those games are no longer a question. They're coming out in 2023. Forza Motorsport still a question. So what else could they have? Well, then we start getting to the second tier of games. Josh Sawyer's next game, Project Belfry, and then maybe some other surprises we don't know about.
Maybe something smaller from Double Fine.
Exactly, something like that. Yes, a little surprise little game they were working on the side. Like that stuff
too.
Yes, that stuff's possible, but it's not the thing you're talking about. It's not a trick up your sleeve. It's just another kind of small game that they would have put out anyway.
There's nothing that's going to make up for Starfield.
Yeah, and nothing for 2023 is going to be ready in 2022. So like that's not happening. Nothing's moving up. From Brian, happy Friday, BNC boys. Capcom reportedly plans to have several titles released by late March 2023. Do we know if they plan to announce anything at Game Fest, or should we just expect specialized streams or YouTube drops like they used for Resident Evil Village and the Monster Hunter series? More specifically, have there been any rumblings regarding Street Fighter 6? Thanks in advance. I mean, at the end of the last Capcom Cup, right, they talked about Street Fighter 6.
They announced Street Fighter 6.
Right, they announced it, and it seemed they said they would talk about more soon. Yeah. And yeah, I could see them showing up with like a Resident Evil game at Summer Game Fest. I think the Summer Game Fest is actually going to be very good, and I think that's the tier of stuff we can expect. But I don't know for sure. What do you think, Mike?
I think we'll probably see Resident Evil 4 Remake at the Summer Game Fest specifically.
Okay.
Yes,
I think that sounds right.
And then there's some other things from that Capcom leak we still haven't seen yet, like maybe Dragon Zomba 2 Israel. That other Ace Attorney game maybe is going to happen, and who knows what else.
From Patrick Hand, hello, Existential Jeff and Juicy Mike. Word around the campfire is Stalker 2 still on track for December. I know their health and safety is far more important, but do either of you have an insight or confidence in that happening? I don't. I guess I keep forgetting about that game's supposed to come later this year. I suppose that could be something for Xbox.
I thought it was. I didn't even know December. I thought it was already just straight up like it's not coming out this year. But
right.
Yeah.
December kind of feels that way. So yeah.
Yeah. Sure. I'd be surprised if it came out this year.
I would too. From Pablo Cos, happy Friday, Beef and Cheddar Gang. As I turned 34 years old today, happy birthday!
Hey.
There are a few things I want to get off of my chest. Wow. He's got some grievances.
I like it.
Okay, 1. Super Mario Bros. 3 is still perfect to this day, and I dare you to fight me over that. I like that game a lot.
I like that game a lot. I like Super Mario World more.
I do too, but Super Mario Bros. 3 probably is also perfect. I know that this makes sense.
A lot of auto scrollers and some difficulty spikes that are a little annoying. That's what I'll
pretty
say.
Awesome. Number 2, for the people listening, if you haven't bought Metroid Dread yet, what are you doing with your life? If not for the soundtrack, the game would be a 10 out of 10.
It's true, actually.
Yep. 3, once Jeff has moved to Ohio, he and Mike should attempt the Cloud/Andrea Rodea dancing choreography from Final Fantasy VII Remake. Fresh content ideas for the channel. All right, I'll learn some dance choreography. And then question for Mikey, what's the better opening track, Caught Somewhere in Time or Moonchild? Have a fantastic weekend, boys. You too, Pablo. Happy birthday.
Oh, that's a good one. So Caught Somewhere in Time is the Iron Maiden opening track for the album Somewhere in Time. Moonchild is the opening track for Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. Man, Moonchild has that really fun thing in the opening when they did the little poem thing, and I like that. Caught Some More Time is also maybe just a little long for an opening track, but it also slaps like crazy. I'm also Somewhere Time was the first album I listened to from Iron Maiden. I think I'll say Caught Some More Time is slightly better than Moonchild. I don't know though. They're both pretty good. None of them are as the best opening might be Wicker Man from Brave New World, the 2000 album. Actually, I like Wicker Man a lot.
Sorry, I'm just gonna fade away while you keep talking. All right, never mind. All right, from Major Arms Blazer. From Major Arms Blazer. Hi guys, I was offered to go to Ohio in a couple years. Should I do it? I don't know what this means. I was offered to go to Ohio in a couple years.
Job. Yeah, it's just because of job. He's offered to relocate. I mean, relocating. There's a lot going into that.
So yes, you should 100% do it. Yeah,
there's a lot of people you're gonna miss if you move. Cole H Live After Death is a fantastic live album. That's my thought on that. So yeah, I'm uncomfortable making this decision for you, I guess.
I'm
not gonna hang out with you. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay home. Like I'm not gonna go out. I'm never gonna hang out with Mike either. I'm just gonna stay home.
Yeah, probably very rare we really see. We're all like, oh wow, we're gonna live so close to each other. It's still like an hour and a half. We're not gonna want to drive that all the time.
Yeah, not all the time. We'll do it a couple times a year for sure.
Yeah, sounds like work once, maybe once. You can come to my birthday. If you bring prezzies, you can come see me.
Okay, fair enough. From Colin, happy Friday, boys. There's been a lot of talk surrounding the state of AAA games and the sustainability of creating increasingly huge and costly games. With UE5 coming online, does the adoption of a more universal tool like Unreal, which lowers cost of huge games by reducing the need of a bespoke game engine, help balance the scales towards sustainability? That is the argument. That is also probably the reality. But every time a tool comes along to make one job cheaper, that ambition and the thing you need to do to stand out from the crowd becomes more expensive. You put more resources into that. So, like an example of the Unreal Engine 5, it makes it very easy to quickly build an exterior city. So you can make a cityscape really quickly. Well, now every game could do that, right? So what are you going to do to stand apart? Well, now you're going to put all that artist time into making the interiors of those buildings. And so you're going to just spend just as much money.
Into any building in the next Spider-Man game.
Exactly. So it's like, it's going to be that sort of thing where they always fill up their budget. They always find ways to use this money, and they're just going to keep getting more and more and more expensive. All right, from Jedi Moss 4, is the problem with the ambition of games today really the size? Nintendo games are usually a bit smaller in scope, but they still take a good 3 to 4 years to make. Xenoblade 3 was allegedly in development since 2018. Is it time to acknowledge that games in general take a long time to make?
3 and 4 years is kind of short now, really.
It's on the shorter side.
Reasonable.
It's on the shorter side, yeah. Xenoblade 3 since 2018, so what? That's going to mean like 4 years between starting it and releasing it? That's still pretty quick. It's longer than it used to take for sure. I'll say that a lot of that comes down to like the size of the team. Nintendo's probably using smaller teams, so that helps.
Monolith was helping with some other games. They also made DLC for Xenoblade 2, and they remade the first Xenoblade, right? So I still feel like they've been very productive.
All right, and then this last one is someone raising their hand saying, hello, Sean from GameMess.net here. I have a question about tomorrow afternoon at 2:30 Eastern. Are you boys ready to cook some shrimp? Yeah, we're going to talk about boys. Sorry. So tomorrow, tune in. We're going to be streaming our destruction of the Windows Central Discord. Oh, hello, baby. Yes, no, I'm okay. Oh, yeah, you got a meep. Well, don't worry. We're going to take care of these other meeps, and don't you watch, because...
Is it true that they're all controller players over there?
I mean, I think they're mostly Xbox players, so I think so. Exactly. Rub
Oh,
our hands together in a way
yeah.
that will not come back to haunt me, I'm sure. I'm sure this won't come back to haunt me.
I can taste it. I can
Yes.
taste that sweet,
Taste
sweet
delicious
bacon cheddar
controller
victory.
player meat. Yes. All right. That does it for the questions from the community. Any more super chats, Mike?
I think we got a couple more. Let me make sure here. Let's see. Yeah, we got a few more. I read that one. Carl Lennon says Fall Guys Twitter said big announcement on Monday? Question mark. Well, I wonder. I mean, what could that mean from Fall Guys? Is it a new season, or I don't even know where they are in their current season, or is it just some other crazy new character coming?
I said it's the biggest announcement ever. Do you think it means it comes to like Xbox and Switch and stuff? Is that the biggest thing?
I
would have to do
mean, to
something
say
more?
biggest announcement ever, I would assume new platforms, but I don't know.
Yeah. And probably a bunch of new like probably a new season to go along with that, right? And it's like maybe a whole new way of playing it or something.
Yeah.
Real quick, we were talking about the shrimp, and so the one daughter comes over here and she's like, "Shh, don't tell baby that you ate the shrimp, because it's still a secret between us." And the other kid's sitting right here, right next to her, so she's not mad at me. So I think we're okay.
That's hilarious.
Yes. Okay. So are we all caught up and everything now?
A couple more. Reservoir Doug says Sydney isn't Jussie. I knew I shouldn't have gotten mad about Jussie, because now it's going to be more of a thing. I knew I should have just I don't know. There's nothing I could do. What could I have done to stop it? I just wanted to stop it so bad. Well, don't laugh. Hey, Jeff, you laugh. Stephen Hart says, which is there more of, eyes or legs? There,
God,
break your
it.
brain. Well, actually, I don't know. I actually think this one's really easy. I think it's clearly eyes, because there's a lot of bugs that have like hundreds of eyes, and there are lots and lots of bugs. So it's eyes.
But I mean, lots of bugs. Well, okay.
Lots of bugs have 8 legs, not but which isn't nearly
100 legs. A lot of centipedes have 100 legs, right? Yeah.
Well, I guess that is what centa means, and millipede. Okay, millipedes and centipedes have a lot of legs. Also, I still think that there are more houseflies.
Okay, do tentacles count as legs? So like an octopus, I guess. And like,
I mean, what are we counting? Table legs as legs now? Is a lens, an eye, and a camera?
No. Okay, so no, but like I mean, like an octopus.
It'd be organic. A tentacle? No,
Chad is loving this. Chad is all for us having this conversation. There's not a single person begging us to stop, so that's nice. Tentacles are tentacles.
All right. I mean, tentacles are also arms. So
okay, all right. But like, if you have like light sensors that are like proto eyes, I want to count those as eyes, though.
Just do the poll. Do the poll right now.
All right, let's do the goddamn poll.
I'm pretty sure it's eyes.
Can't believe Chad is making us do this.
Yeah, come on, Chad. We wanted to move on.
What is there more of? Eyes, legs. More of.
There you go.
On Earth. Okay, there we go.
I can't specify in case there's like a whole planet that's nothing but eyes.
Yeah?
There it is.
Okay, I'll stop making loud noises. I'm sorry about that. You're right. I should be quiet. Okay. Okay.
Hey, they were making loud noises. I mean, you did yell at them for it.
Yes, true. And now she's playing a toy guitar over there. She's just wonderful. All right, let's see. I think. Oh, so wait, was that the last super chat?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, Mike, have you been playing anything?
I beat Escape from Monkey Island yesterday. I already talked about the highlight there with Monkey Combat, which was everyone kind of agrees it's the worst one, and it is. I think so, but it still was fun for the most part. It's hard to judge it, the puzzles anyways, because like they're harder for me, but largely because I have memorized the puzzles from 1, 2, 3, because I've replayed this one so many times. This was just the second time I played this after playing it the first time when it launched in 2000. So it's definitely also, I mean, it's an early 3D game, and it is kind of ugly. It did not hold up nearly as well as like the great pixel art from 1 and 2, or the great hand-drawn characters and animation from the third one. It is kind of weird, Jeff. It was like this awful shame that right when we got CD-ROM and we were able to hold all this data, like for voice acting or video or for 2D animation, it was also right when 3D graphics were getting going. So we had like this really brief period where people were experimenting with like making like cartoon style games and stuff like that, right? Like the Laserdisc era with stuff like Dragon's Lair and whatnot.
Yeah,
short-lived.
Yeah, it definitely felt like like that could have gone in a different direction. Everyone just kind of lost faith in it, but I mean, I'm glad that like Ron Gilbert's back and doing another one. It's very cool.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Very excited for that. What about you? What you've been playing?
Yeah, I loaded up MDK on my Steam Deck because it's on Steam and you could just download it and it works.
I thought you hated Shiny.
So I'm like, people say that the MDK is good, and I never played it. And I remember, like, of course, it was in magazines because all Dave Perry games were always like, people just love talking about his games. Like Messiah was like the magazine game, and I never played that either. That's also on Steam, and I do intend to play that, although I don't think that was working on Steam Deck. But I'm like, I'll play MDK first because people say that one's actually good. Messiah is what it is, but it's not MDK apparently. It's like, you know, a run forward shooter with like platforming stuff, and it definitely has like a striking look because it has like that like just that running, sprinting sprite guy going through a 3D world, and that stuff actually works for me pretty well. I still think it, for the most part, it plays kind of like a Shiny game where it's not about precise movement or action, and it's more about just looking good, and it does look good. But I think I'm having a pretty okay time with it. I do occasionally get stuck where I'm like, how do I get past this part? And it's like an action puzzle where it's like I gotta figure out how to like platform and shoot my way through this section of enemies. And I don't know how much I love that. I'm kind of like, I just want to keep moving forward. But yeah, it's almost like a next gen version of those forward running Contra levels, like not the side scrolling ones, but the ones where you go forward in Contra. Kind of feels like that, but like more realized. So yeah. But I'm gonna keep playing that.
I don't know how much I played of the original one. I played MDK2 a good deal more because we had it on Dreamcast, and it was pretty fun. And that was actually made by BioWare, MDK2, which is funny. Not bananas. By Shiny. Yeah. Also in MDK2, Jim Ryan would like it. You can play as a 4-armed dog with guns.
Yeah,
he smokes a cigar.
Yeah, BioWare responsible for the only good Sonic game, Sonic the Dark Brotherhood.
Yeah, sure.
That was a Jeff Gerstmann joke the other day, and I laughed and laughed. And I laughed and laughed.
If you keep laughing, I'll make you play it. We'll see how good you really think it is.
I reviewed that game before I was doing that professionally. I remember I read it for some website, like even like it was like a community review website. And I did this whole thing. I gave it like an 8.0 or something. I kind of like this. I bet it does not hold up. I bet I was wrong.
I can't believe that all the shit you give Sonic and you actually gave Dark Brotherhood a pretty good review.
Because it's like, I'm like, oh yeah, they're going for the Mario RPG thing. Like, it's not as good as that, clearly, but it's like, they're going for it. Yeah, and it probably is way worse. I need to try it again.
They talk in that game. Jez Corden's constantly trying to get you to play WoW now, and I'm begging him. He will not like WoW. It won't be fun.
He will
just get mad.
If that ever happens, he will regret it so much. All the complaining I'm going to do, all the shitting on it I'm going to do, he will regret it. You know better.
The first time Jeff sees a dialogue box, he's going to get so grumpy.
You're not wrong. Mm-hmm. All right, Mike, I'm going to hit the button to get us out of here. What do you say?
Yeah, we've been going for... I had to cut grass.
Man's got to cut grass, everybody.
Forget about touching grass. I'm cutting it.
So
I'm cutting it, baby!
Beyond doxing you and finding where you are cutting grass, where can people find you on the internet?
Find me on Twitter and Twitch at Tolkot. Tolkot. I made a fancy new background image stuff for my stream. I'm no longer just using presets, Jeff.
Ooh. Did you get Photoshop and do it? PNGs?
Oh, I can Photoshop. I'm a good Photoshopper. I'm a much better Photoshopper than you.
92 shirts sold, or seem to disagree.
Wow. Wait till the Jess shirt comes out.
Okay.
I'm going to have to make a Jesse shirt also now. I'm just going to have to make both. And then you're going to tell me
what's going to sell better. I wonder which.
More. This freaking poll, 58% say legs just because I'm said eyes. So I have to disagree with Mike. I know how it goes. Jeff, where can people find your stupid ass?
You find me on Twitter, usually tweeting way too much these days because of mental health issues. That's at Jeff Grubb. Also on twitch.tv/Jeff Grubb. And yeah, I want to stream. I'm gonna be busy these next few weeks. People want me on podcasts. I'm like, I just got to stop doing other podcasts until I get moved, pretty much. But you can find me doing Grubb Snacks every Thursday. That show's been really fun recently. It's like, I kind of go, like, I get around to Tuesday, I'm like, I have nothing for this week. This is gonna suck. People are gonna know I'm a fraud. And then like Wednesday happens, and it's like, oh man, I got a bunch of fun things to talk about. And like by the time the show started on Thursday, I had like more things I knew what to do with. And then the show ended, and I like checked my text, so it was like, oh, the Dead Space release date's gonna get announced. I'm like, I could have talked about this on the show and tried to get it out there and tried to write the story before they announced it, but it kind of came out right when it happened. So, but yeah, come watch Grubb Snacks on Thursdays on Giant Bomb. It's free if you want to watch on Twitch. If you don't want to subscribe, you can come watch free. And then you can also find me mostly yelling at kids for being way too loud during podcast. Yeah, Mike, you gonna do anything fun other than going to cut your grass this weekend?
I'm going to a lake.
All right, everybody, bye. We'll see you next week.
I want to catch a fish and kill it just to see how it feels.